1992 season's opener between the Redmen of St. John's University and the Gales of Iona College. And a very good afternoon, everybody. Gary Stanley joined by Chuck Strom, and in just a moment we'll hear from Iona head coach Harold Crocker. Chuck, for the Gales, the magic number, I guess, is 11. It's not a good number. That's the consecutive times the St. John's Redmen have beaten the Gales of Iona by hook or by crook. Each year, it seems St. John's comes up with a way to beat Iona. So for the Gales, obviously a very big day. The season's opener, want to get off to a good start, but also a chance to get that monkey off their back.
And for the players that were here last year, of course, a particularly painful loss last year to St. John's, losing a big lead and then a last-second field goal. And, of course, it will be a big game for them and the newcomers. It's the conference opener and the season opener for Iona. With us now is Coach Harold Crocker. And, Coach, obviously St. John's game is a big game every year, but it's the season opener again this year. Obviously, it's important. It's beautiful weather. You're expecting a big crowd. This is a big game for your club.
Well, we know it's a big game. It's been a big game every year, but it's a big opening day. We really haven't stressed any of the negatives from past years, so we're just looking forward to coming out of the blocks real strong and have a great day today.
When you look at this St. John's team, you can probably sum it up by one thing that you've got to do, and that's stop the running back Russo. If you can do that, you got a chance of winning the ball game.
I'll tell you what, that's obviously a #1 priority. We do have to stop Russo. They'll go to some other things if we do, though, so we have to be well prepared because Bobby Rickett does a nice job with these guys.
One final thing, a different look for Iona. Obviously, you've had some marquee names that have left. It's a younger, deeper team this year, and it's something that you think is going to be exciting for the crowds.
Well, I'm real happy. A lot of new faces in the lineup, but they'll make names for themselves as we go along this season, hopefully today a little bit.
Coach, good luck this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be back with the opening kickoff of today's game between Iona and St. John's right after this message.
And back here at Mazzella Field on the campus of Iona College, Gary Stanley, Chuck Strom. Chuck, could not be a better day weather-wise. Game time temperature 65 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. It's perfect ideal weather for watching football. Not great for playing football here at Mazzella Field because the sun will be a little bit of a problem with the glare this afternoon.
It will, and obviously this being an artificial surface, it will be a little hotter on the field than it is off the field. But as you said, there's a nice breeze, which should certainly make things a little more comfortable for the players, as St. John's and Iona and the captains are out at the 50-yard line awaiting the coin toss to get this season opener underway.
Talking to Coach Crocker on the pregame show just a couple of minutes ago, did you detect a bit of nervousness? To me, he seemed pretty calm for a guy who has lost to this ball club and to Coach Bob Bricka, the St. John's head coach, 11 times in a row.
And especially that wacky loss last year. Of course, Iona with the big lead in that ball game, and then the stoppage of the clock, which probably never should have happened, and then the 42-yard field goal to give St. John's the three-point win at the end of that ball game last year. So I think this is the year, though. We met with Coach Crocker during the week, and they told us that they didn't, of course, stress any of the negatives, but you really felt that they think this is their year to turn that jinx around and get Iona going in the right direction against St. John's. And this is obviously a very, very big ball game. It's the conference opener, the season opener, and the home opener, kind of game you really feel that you have to win.
Gales with a record of 7-2-1 last year. Meanwhile, St. John's 6-4. But the Redmen won the Liberty Conference by virtue, I guess, of their second week victory over Iona, 30-27. St. John's 4-1 in the Liberty Conference, while the Gales 3-1-1. So I guess Coach Crocker and his staff feel the Gales had nobody to blame but themselves for not being the Liberty Conference champions last season.
Certainly, and of course Iona also felt that they should have gotten a postseason berth, although the selection committee picked Ramapo, who had lesser of a record than the Gales, 7-2-1, but of course strength of schedule and things of that nature came into being last year, and Iona did not get the postseason berth. So obviously we talked about that during the week with Coach Crocker, and that is also a goal as well for this new-look young Gale team. Of course, we mentioned all the marquee players that are gone, Mike Bardunius, John Chaldone, Byron Womack, the notables from last year. The real big player this year, obviously, to look to would be Billy Highland, the quarterback, as he continues his Iona career.
What a year Billy Highland had last season. 18 touchdowns, 19 interceptions on the negative side, but 2,683 yards in the air. So obviously all those Iona records, it'll be Air Iona against Ground St. John's, because as good as Billy Highland is throwing the ball, Anthony Russo, you'll see plenty of him, the Redmen running back, number 21. He almost ran for that many yards last year.
No question that he is the best running back in the conference, one of the best, obviously, in Division III football, certainly in this area. He certainly can move the football. It'll be key for Iona to stop him today.
Well, the long-awaited 1992 football season is underway. This is Eugene McGowan for Iona, and a pretty good return to about the 27-yard line, right up the middle of the field, and that is where the Iona Gales will start out in this first quarter, going from left to right. Very big crowd here at Mazzella Field, and just an ideal day for football. Hope it's going to be a good game. Glad you're with us.
Take a look at the Iona offensive lineup. Of course, Billy Highland is the quarterback, and running back James McMahon, he'll play a big role this year. Urizzo, Sparrow, McGowan, and Green are the receivers. A lot of rotation on the receivers for Iona. On the line, Stankiewicz, Moriarty, Clark, Moody, and Kyle Flood.
First down 10 for the Gales. 6 seconds in. Billy Highland, run and shoot offense. And the first play is a draw to McMahon. Good yardage. And he's very close to a first down to about the 35. Called out a gain of 8. And I guess that a little bit away from what we might have expected. Air Iona going to the ground for their first play from scrimmage.
I think you'll see a lot of draw plays from this unit this year. McMahon showed some signs of promise last year in his limited action. Of course, Byron Womack, the go-to guy last year, has moved on. But McMahon is a key to the Iona offensive success this year if they're going to control the ball at all.
Call that a gain of 9, second down and 1. Good option on this down. Plenty of things to do. You can run or you can even throw the ball in short yardage. They're going to keep it on the ground. McMahon, he's got the first down and more. And again, Iona doing it on the ground to the 41-yard line, a gain of 6, and they move the chains, the first down of the afternoon.
Well, we talked during the week with Coach Crocker, and one of the things he talked about on the offensive line for Iona is that it's changed from size to speed, and we'll get more to that later. Winkler, Lambright, and Bruno, the defensive line for St. John's. Carew, Volpe, Biter, and Kantrowitz are the linebackers. Cliffeather, Ennis, Russo, and Wade, of course, the secondary for the Redmen.
Very experienced defense. 7 of these guys played together all of last year, so Bob Ricca very, very confident about his defensive unit. Highland faking a draw play, will throw if he can. He's being chased out of the pocket and unloads the ball down the sideline. Good move by Billy Highland. Chris Carew, the linebacker, outside linebacker, chasing Billy Highland, and Billy wisely just unloaded to the sidelines.
Yeah, Billy immediately had to scramble on that play. They were in and made penetration into the offensive backfield right as soon as he faked the draw to McMahon, and he tried to roll out to the right, and you could see that that play was not going to go anywhere for Iona. So immediately the Gales trying to get some offense through the air in the second series after the first down.
Split out to the left side, number 88. You'll see him in just a moment. Steve Pogaczynski, a good-looking freshman wide receiver. He's to the top of your screen. He'll see a lot of action. A lot of wide receivers on this Iona ball club. Second down and 10 as Highland straight back to throw, and Tim Silo with the reception, and the referee says no catch. No catch.
Said the ball hit the ground, and Silo did not come up with it, and the Gales now face a 3rd and 10.
Thought that he caught the ball, but the official ruling a trap, and let's take a look at that again.
Let's see if we can get a better angle on it on the replay. Silo was out on the right end, split out, and I guess we won't take a look at it right now, but he tried to do it just a quick in pattern, and the ball was low from Highland and not caught by Silo, so it'll be 3rd down.
I guess a la the NFL, no further review, so we'll review that one later. 3rd down and 10, first big play for the Gales from their own 41-yard line. Highland out of the shotgun. Dropping back to the 30, being chased. Doing what he does best, scrambling, but in trouble, throws upfield, and the reception made at the 50-yard line.
I think he's a little short, Gary, of the first down, so it'll be a first big decision for Crocker, and he's made it already.
Well, though they rule it out of bounds, the catch.
Okay.
Incomplete, so it's 4th down, so no decision at all for Coach Crocker.
Yeah, it would have been 4th and about half a yard, but they say that he was out of bounds, and the Gales have Eric Menacall in for his first punt of the season.
So Iona doing the job on the ground, but Billy Highland unable to find the mark in the air, so the Gales will have to punt. We've got 1:17 gone by in the first quarter as Mena call a high, booming kick. And St. John's going to let that ball bounce. The Gales will down it at the St. John's 20-yard line. So the Redmen, with their offense, we talked about Billy Highland, his propensity to throw the ball. The Redmen like to run the ball first, and in particular, number 21, great 5'7" junior Anthony Russo, rushed for 1,685 yards. Last season, 18 touchdowns. Sharkey, the quarterback, number 33, the blocking back, Bill Osterman. Receivers, Anthony Iadivio, Tom McPherson. Tight end is Nick Palmieri. O'Grady, Campbell, Locasio, Tenaglia, and Medina. The front line for Sean Sharkey. 21-yard line as the Redmen from right to left. Their first time with the ball. And here's a handoff, and nothing doing at all for Anthony Russo, caught behind the line of scrimmage. And Chuck, we've got a change in at quarterback. We had been given the information that Sharkey would start. Instead, number 14, William Santella, who is a transfer from Nassau Community College. He made the handoff.
They're not real strong at quarterback, but let's, as you run down the linebackers for Iona, Morgan Rocco, Corcoran, and Eugene McCarthy. And the defensive backs are Al Mellon, James Sullivan, and Dan Foley. Quarterback, a weak position for St. John's, and they try to control the ball with Russo, as you mentioned, but Iona stopped him on the first play.
Second down, 13 from the Redmen 18-yard line is Santella, the new quarterback, rolling out to the left, fires, and it's complete to McPherson. They really caught it out of bounds. Incomplete.
Well, it wasn't going to go anywhere. Actually, probably would have lost yardage had he been inbound, so now it's 3rd and 13 for St. John's. That play really had no chance of developing for the Redmen.
So the St. John's Redmen, so far, it's been pretty much of a defensive struggle. The offenses have been struggling. 3rd down and 13 for St. John's.
Of course, last year St. John's offense struggled throughout the first 2.5 quarters of the game, came to life in the last quarter and a half to pull out the win last year. Let's see if the Gales can remain consistent on defense here today.
Lone running back, lone setback is Anthony Russo. Santella's pass deflected, almost intercepted. The big arms of Raymond Perez, a defensive end, knocked the ball down at the line of scrimmage, and the Gales nearly came up with an interception. Yep. But the Gales have to feel good about their first defensive stand of the afternoon.
Perez, the 6'1", 230-pound sophomore, got the big left arm up and knocked that pass down, and they stopped St. John's cold on that series, and a chance for Iona to get some good field position as a result of this punt from deep in his own territory.
Joe Parker will punt, number 11. Eugene McGowan waiting at the Iona 45-yard line. There's the punt. High, not too deep. It's going to bounce at the St. John's 43 and take a little bit of an Iona roll before finally being downed at the 42-yard line. So Iona will take over in St. John's territory.
Yeah, great field position for the Iona Gales as they start their second possession right now, as they will start at about the 41. Well, we have a moment. We'd like to tell you that this portion of our game is being sponsored by the Beachmont Tavern. It's the #1 hangout for Iona Gale fans. The Beachmont Tavern, featuring the best buffalo wings in town, a great Sunday brunch, and Monday night football parties. The Beachmont Tavern is open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week at 750 North Avenue in New Rochelle, right across the street from Iona College.
Right across the street we are from Mozilla Field. Season's opener, Iona with the ball against the St. John's Redmen. I formation. Out of the shotgun, Billy Highland to throw. Little flare out to the left, and he's got his man, and he's got the first down. Eugene McGowan. And McGowan to the 29-yard line of St. John's. Call that a gain of 11, and Iona with their first pass completion of the afternoon.
Just a little flare out to the left side. McGowan took 2 steps in, got the ball as the ball was floated by Billy Highland, and he had some running room as they let the defensive pressure come in and set up that good play for McGowan, and first completion of the year for Billy Highland.
So Iona looking to get on the board for the first time. The ball on the 29-yard line. Draw play. James McMahon avoids one tackle. Good yardage, and he's very close to another first down inside the 20-yard line to the 19, and I think he's got it. That draw play has worked very well for Iona.
That's the one play that's looked good on the ground for Iona thus far. He picked up a 12-yard gain there, down to about, I believe, the 17, and the Gales have 2 consecutive first downs, and they're moving the ball deep down into Redmen territory.
So James McMahon, the heir apparent to Byron Womack, who is Mr. Everything at halfback for the Gale offense, has done very, very well. James McMahon, a 5'7" senior, has not had an awful lot of playing time the last couple of seasons.
29 yards on 3 carries thus far, so a good start for McMahon.
Highland to scramble. Carew chasing. Highland in trouble again, unloads down that right sideline, incomplete. And good thing again, Billy Highland able to get away from the pressure of Chris Carew, who is all over the place in the early going.
Yeah, that linebacker has gotten into the backfield for St. John's twice now to cause havoc on the play, and Highland has had to abort the called play, roll out to his right. Seems to be the favorite way that Billy likes to roll out. Obviously, as a right-handed thrower, it's easy for him to pass the ball from that formation, but unable to complete it there.
Of course, Carew no stranger to Iona. He scored 2 touchdowns, a defensive player in that wild 30-27 victory last year.
Yep.
11 in a row. That's the bugaboo Iona trying to break this afternoon. 2nd down and 10. Highland again throws to the right. He's got his man Silo. Touchdown! Tim Silo, and the Gales get on the board, leading 6-0.
Yeah, just a little turn-in pattern by Silo. He was open, and Highland drilled it in there. Nice low line drive pass, and Iona is the first one of the season, and I think we'll take another look at it. Here you see him just turn in. Silo catches the ball and falls into the end zone on that play, and that gave Iona the early lead as he beat on the play Dwayne Ennis, who was the defensive back for St. John's, unable to make the play.
So Tim Silo, a sophomore who came on very strong last year, and he scores the first points of the 1992 season for Iona. James Cowper will try the extra point. Pogajinski will hold for the Gales. Low snap, he gets it down, the kick is up, and it is good.
Well, a horrendous snap, but he was able to get it up through the air, and that, of course, was the first extra point, and a booming extra point. Harold Crocker, the Iona coach, told us during the week that Cowper has had a tremendous preseason kicking the football, so he expects to see a lot of good things from Cowper. James had a couple of long kicks last year. He's always had the leg. It's the consistency that he's lacked, and we'll see if he can have a better year right now. That was a 15-yard pass from Highland to Silo, 4 plays, 41 yards, and it took Iona just 58 seconds to score on that possession.
Well, just like last year, Chuck, the Iona offense doing it early, jumping out to that big lead. It was 20-0 at Redmen Field before St. John's came back. It is 7-0 in favor of the Gales of Iona College.
Well, this is where St. John's will just try to buckle their belt, and they, of course, you wouldn't think they'd be a very good come-from-behind team with them depending on Russo on the ground so much. That's what we said last year, and it turned out they came from behind. But again, they will try to establish Russo as the key to their offense on this series of downs as well.
Let's take a look at that touchdown pass once again in slow motion from the 15-yard line. Billy Highland.
Good-looking pass from Highland there. You can see a good spiral, a little wobble to it, but right on the numbers for Silo as he falls into the end zone and scores the first touchdown of the season.
Jimmy Cowper back to live action, kicking off. And Charles Broadway will return. And good coverage by the Gales just outside the 20-yard line.
Raymond Capuano came in and went right in front of Broadway to take the kickoff, almost fumbled it, but was able to grab it after bobbling it, and a pretty good return, so they have decent field position on their second attempt at an offensive series here out to the 23-yard line. So the Gale defense, which was very strong in the first series, back out on the field now with a lead.
So Anthony Russo has only seen the ball one time, and that a 3-yard loss on the first play from scrimmage. Lining up in the I formation, 23-yard line. Again, the quarterback, a transfer from Nassau Community College, William Santella. Hands to his money man, Russo, darting and still going. And he gets up close to the 30-yard line, about a 7-yard gain. That's one thing Anthony Russo does so well. He takes that initial hit and somehow is able to squirm forward for a couple of more yards.
And if he gets through that first hole, as you mentioned, Gary, he's tough to bring down, and it's very surprising sometimes to see him break through the hole and all of a sudden he's out into the open field. That is really a pretty contained play by the Iona defense, but before you know it, Russo's got 6-7 yards on it.
Clock moving, 10:55 to go first quarter. Our first score, a 15-yard touchdown pass to Iona's Tim Silo. Gales lead 7-0. Second down, a long 3 for the Redmen. Santella again to Russo, and Russo short yardage. Check that. That's Osterman, the fullback, and perhaps he got 1 yard on the play.
Yeah, it sets up about a 3rd down and 2 for St. John's, so a play that you would expect them to probably give the ball off to Russo, but that was a good containment on the line by the Iona defense.
Eugene McCarthy, senior co-captain inside linebacker, had 87 tackles last season. Just picked up 1 right there. Big play for the Redmen, 3rd down and 2.
Very experienced linebacking core for Iona. That's the strength of their defense this year, and it's showing up early on.
3rd and 2. St. John's jumping offside, flags all over the place.
Yeah, that was Thomas O'Grady, the offensive tackle. He went one sound too early on the snap count, and it is now going to be 3rd down and 7. And that, of course, is something that St. John's cannot afford to do with their type of offense, because now they're going to force the young, well, actually not so young, he's a senior, but the new quarterback, William Santella, into a passing situation.
So Coach Bob Bricka had sent in a 3rd and 2 play. A 3rd and 7 is a whole different story after our first penalty flag of the afternoon. Clock moving at 9:50 to go. 3rd down and 7 against St. John's, looking for their first down of the afternoon. Russo, the lone setback. McPherson wide to the left. Top of your screen is Iadivio. Santella being rushed. Throws incomplete. Intended for 87 McPherson. And good coverage again by the Gales, and also good penetration that time by the right end, Vinny Santalia, putting the pressure on the quarterback, Santella.
Yeah, I think Santella heard the footsteps of Santalia on the right side coming from behind him. Threw that ball just a little bit too early, and he led his receiver, McPherson, just a bit too much. So another punt now for the Redmen.
So Joe Parker, his 2nd punt of the afternoon, his first one not a good one. And Eugene McGowan waiting at his own 35 for the return for the Gales. A high kick again, and again not very deep. Will bounce at the 45 of St. John's and take a bit of an Iona roll out of bounds, and once again the Gales will take over in St. John's territory.
Well, Iona has certainly shown the strength of their defense thus far. No first downs for St. John's, and twice they have held them on 3 and out, and this time, as last time, a bad punt by Parker, and the Gales get possession. Now here's a quick formation for Iona. We may see a little no huddle out of Iona here today. We talked about that during the week, and that's something that you may see on and off throughout the year from the Gales.
Joe Esparro, bottom of your screen, is Billy Highland calling out signals and audible from behind the line. The ball on the St. John's 45-yard line. Highland in the shotgun to throw. With time, out of the pocket now, rolling to the left. Doesn't like it there. Throws deflected up in the air and intercepted by St. John's. He could go all the way at the 10. And he is in the end zone for a touchdown.
Al
Bruno, the defensive lineman, a junior, deflected pass from Billy Highland. And again, the bugaboo strikes. St. John's finds all kind of strange ways to score against Iona.
We have seen some strange things, but let's just give you an idea of how strange that is. Al Bruno is a 6-foot, 260-pound defensive lineman who goes 55 yards for a touchdown on a deflected pass. So St. John's gets on the board in another wacky way.
Well, if there's one negative about Billy Highland, the fact that he's a short quarterback, only 5'8", has a lot of passes deflected, but he scrambled about 2 or 3 times before finally putting the ball up in the air, and it was deflected straight up, and Al Bruno, the man on the spot for the Redmen. Joe Parker for the extra point, trying to tie the game. Placed down, kicked, it is up, it is good. And just like that, the Redmen have tied the Gales 7-7 without the benefit of the defense, of the offense rather. The defense gets on the board.
Going to take another look at this interception by Bruno. It seemed they're going to maybe put it in slow motion. I think regular speed is slow motion. It seemed like it took Bruno forever to get into the end zone, but there was nobody there from Iona to be able to stop him. Here, let's take a look at him running there. As you can see, his blockers are beating him down the field, and he finally gets into the end zone. That's got to be a thrill of a lifetime for Al Bruno. Who would have ever thought? Well, I guess it's a St. John's Iona game, so you might as well have thought about it, but that was another weird play, and St. John's is on the board. That's a momentum changer, too. Obviously, the Gales had dominated the first 6 minutes of this football game, and they end up tied at 7.
All right, we'll try to get the beginning part of that play a bit later on. Again, the deflected pass at the line of scrimmage, straight up in the air, and it came right down to Al Bruno, and you saw the end of Mr. Bruno lumbering into the end zone.
Lumbering.
No other way to describe it when you're 260 pounds, but lumbering into the end zone.
Well, when your blockers have to slow down so that they don't go too far ahead of you, you know that you are certainly not a speed demon out there.
John Ledwith will kick off. You remember him, don't you, Chuck?
Well, he's the 42-yard specialist. His only field goal made last year
won the game.
Actually won the Liberty Conference is what it won for St. John's.
Eugene McGowan, another return at the 20-yard line. Up the middle, sees a hole, may break it. One man to beat, but that one man, the kicker Ledwith, tripped him up at the 40-yard line. Otherwise, McGowan might have given us a thrill.
Yeah, he certainly had a big hole. Good formation on the kick return for Iona. They opened up a hole on the right side, and McGowan broke it out to about the 39-yard line. So Iona with good field position again as they try to move the ball. Here it is. McGowan takes it. Look at that ball line up there. Good blocking. A little hold there that wasn't called, but that's okay for Iona as McGowan is stopped by Ledwith.
So good job by the kicker Ledwith preventing what could have been a disastrous return on behalf of St. John's. First down 10 for Iona. The Gales will try again. No flags on the play. Handoff to, this is Beluzzi for Iona, a newcomer, and Beluzzi on what amounted to, I believe, a free play because the penalty will be against St. John's. Picks up about 9 yards on the play.
I suppose they'll take the play and not the penalty. 2nd and 1 versus 1st and 5. Good-looking run there by Beluzzi over the left side. The Gales have been able to run. When they've run, the 3 running plays that have been successful have been on the left side of their offensive line and, of course, dealing with the right side of the St. John's defensive line. Getting back to what I mentioned a little earlier, Coach Crocker talked about how much he likes his offensive line this year because of the speed and quickness that they have versus last year's big size. He thinks he can do a little bit more with a quick offensive line, and that's what he's trying to come up with right now.
All right, again to recap, Gary Stanley, Chuck Strome, 8:54 to go first quarter. It is tied 7-7, a 15-yard touchdown pass from Billy Highland to Tim Silo, and then a return of a deflected pass by the lineman Al Bruno for St. John's. So that is where we are, 7-7. We mentioned Highland last year with 18 touchdowns, 19 interceptions early on. He's got one of each already.
Well, Coach Crocker said to us that he can accept the interceptions, but I don't think he'd like to see them all run back for touchdowns.
2nd down and 1. Gales going for the first down. Beluzzi off right tackle, and he should have enough to move the chains for the 3rd Iona first down of the first quarter.
Yeah, he got just over the 50-yard line, and that's a first down for Iona. And they have been the only team with any kind of offense, although the score is tied at 7.
Should mention Aldo Beluzzi, a transfer from Pace University, where he was a very talented running back. He will share the time with Jimmy McMahon, and they are just about identical size-wise. Beluzzi 5'7", 180, McMahon 5'7", 175. Right at midfield, Iona. From left to right, first down 10. Highland in trouble again, and he won't get away this time. Thrown for a huge 12 or 13-yard loss as Carl Volpe, the linebacker, blitzing and right in Billy Highland's face.
Yeah, that was a big loss for Iona as Volpe got into the backfield immediately and caused the big loss for Iona. So it's going to be 2nd down now and the better part of 22 to go for Iona.
Well, the first sack against Billy Highland, but St. John's getting good penetration as we see the tail end of that tackle.
Yeah, they put a lot of pressure on him, even though that was their first sack. That's about his 3rd time that he's been forced out of the pocket.
Don't forget the interception. That was all caused by the great defensive line rush of St. John's. 2nd down and 22. For Iona, backed up now at their own 37-yard line. Highland back to throw, rolling out to the right. It's a screen, and it's caught by McGowan. Tries to leapfrog over a tackler and just gets back to what is the original line of scrimmage. So maybe a gain of 1 on the play. It'll be 3rd down and long.
Yeah, it's going to be 3rd and long. He might have even lost another yard on that one. As I look out there, he did. It's going to be 3rd and 23. Good pursuit on the screen by St. John's. And as you mentioned earlier, Gary, this defensive unit is an experienced group, and they are showing it now in this series.
64 degrees the temperature on the message board under sun-drenched skies here at Mazzella Field. 3rd down and very long. Highland will throw very long. He's got a man open. McGowan, first down. Right at that first down marker, I believe they'll put the ball at the St. John's 39-yard line. But a great timing pattern to Eugene McGowan, who has been a very busy man this afternoon.
He got the first down by a yard, and that's a big play for Iona.
St. John's had built up a little momentum as a result of the interception, and the Gales had a 3rd and 23. That was a 24-yard gain for Iona. Highland with a nice pass.
So the Gales have obviously been able to move the ball this afternoon, and that a very, very big play. 6 first downs for the Gales, none for St. John's, but St. John's does have that defensive touchdown to match the offensive one by the Gales. First down 10 in St. John's territory. Handoff, Beluzzi. Nothing much doing that time at all. And Raymond Lambright, the big junior defensive end, meeting Beluzzi in the backfield.
Yeah, Lambright is a big guy on that defensive line, 6'2", 266, and he was able to stop that play immediately for the Redmen.
Call that a gain perhaps of 1, 2nd down and 9. Nearing the 6-minute mark of the first quarter from Mazzella Field. Again, the season's opener for both ball clubs. Draw play, Beluzzi. He's got some room that time, breaks a tackle, and he is about a yard shy of the first down. But Aldo Beluzzi, just like James McMahon did earlier, liking that draw play.
Yeah, they're opening up a lot of holes on the draw play, and St. John's has not been able to adjust to that offensive set yet in the game. It's about the 3rd or 4th successful draw play for Iona. They're calling it 3rd down and about a yard for the Gales.
Gales in their short yardage situation put Jimmy Thompson in the game. He's a junior running back.
3rd down and 1 for Iona.
So 2 guys in the backfield, Beluzzi 25 and Jim Thompson 21.
And they're not in a short yardage set, though. They're not directly behind Highland. Beluzzi is. Thompson is not. He's off to the right.
3rd and 1, and the Gales jump offside as Eugene McGowan, the left wide receiver, getting a head start, and that's going to cost Iona 5 yards.
Now, first penalty of the afternoon against Iona, and it will be 3rd down and 6 rather than 3rd and 1.
Well, the Redmen had that problem. They had a 3rd and 2, and they jumped offside to make it 3rd and 7. So Iona now, with a 3rd and 1, make life a little bit difficult on themselves.
5-yard penalty. Yeah.
5 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the first quarter. As I mentioned, both teams with 1 penalty in this ball game. Crowd still filing into Mazzella Field here as we try to fill up the stands on this beautiful fall afternoon.
3rd down, 6. Highland. Complete to Joe Esparro. Now let's see where they mark the football. Leaping high for the catch, Joe Esparro.
It's a first down. He got it by a yard and a half, and Iona has another first down on this drive.
So Billy Highland on those quick passes, that was pretty similar to, as we watch it again, pretty similar to the pattern run for the touchdown by Tim Silo. Highland 2-step drop and throws quickly to the right side, and a good possession catch by Joe Esparro, getting that all-important first down.
Billy Highland is 5 for 10 for 58 yards on the day. He has 1 touchdown and 1 interception.
Ball on the 27-yard line of St. John's. Again, Beluzzi, the lone running back. First down and 10. 3 wide receivers to the left, only Tim Silo to the right. Highland looping out to the left, over the head that time of Jack Urizzo, the intended receiver.
Well, number 35 for the Redmen, Tom Kilfeather, was right there to make the tackle had that ball been caught by Urizzo, and that, of course, would have been a no-gainer anyway, so probably better off that it fell to the ground untouched.
Gales in a situation where they really have 3 more downs to play with because they're out of field goal range, but they would certainly go for it on a 4th down at this portion of the football field.
Yeah, they've got the ball on the 27-yard line. They're only probably about 10 yards away from Cowper field goal range.
Highland faking to Beluzzi, throwing to the right. He's got his man Pogajinski, and Pogajinski very close to that first down, run out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. Let's see where they spot the ball. But again, a nice fake from Highland, faking to Beluzzi and finding Steve Pogajinski, the freshman.
I think they're going to call. Taking a look at it. First down for Iona. Here's Highland dropping back, and he throws out to the big guy on the right side, and he gets out of bounds, knocked out of bounds, but not before he picked up the first down. Another good-looking pass play for Iona.
Gain of 12. You just saw the replay. The 6-foot freshman, nicknamed Pogo, Pogajinski. First down 10 for the Gales. 9 first downs for Iona, would you believe, to none. Highland looking for more, finding Beluzzi in the backfield, and he is trapped back there. Scott Kantrowitz with great penetration, the linebacker making the tackle.
Yeah, he read that play from the start. It was just a quick flare out to Beluzzi, and the linebacker came right back into the backfield and stopped it for actually a loss of 3 yards for Iona.
So with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, Iona St. John's tied 7-7.
Iona, though, has dominated the game.
Sure, yardage, we don't have the numbers yet, but yardage has to be all Iona.
And no first down, so you know St. John's probably doesn't even have 10 yards in offense.
2nd down and 13. That little flare to Belusi lost 3 yards from the St. John's 20-yard line. Highland with the fake. He'll throw. He's got time. In the end zone, complete to Asaro. Touchdown.
I think they're going to rule him out of bounds at the 1-foot line. He did not get in.
Joe Asaro, they're going to rule it inside the 1-yard line. And Iona knocking on the door once again.
Another good-looking pass from Billy Highland as he hit his receiver on the right side, right by the end zone marker there, and he fell out of bounds just short, and now it's Iona with a 1st and goal. Take another look at it. Highland rolling out to the right.
Good
Plenty
protection
of time.
that time.
Yep. And there you see the opening, and he was knocked out of bounds just short of the goal line. 1st and goal for Iona.
Belusi and Thompson, the running backs. Short yardage, obviously. 1st and goal. Belusi leaping high. Did he get in?
He did.
There's a flag on the play. Touchdown ruled by the officials. And let's wait and see about that penalty call.
That play was the 15th play of this drive, 14th play of the drive, and it's against St. John's, and it will be a touchdown for Iona.
So the touchdown on the ground. The penalty against St. John's will obviously be turned down by Iona, and the Gales lead again 13-7.
Couldn't get a look at what that penalty was.
Number 5, James Cowper.
Looked like the referee signaled for an illegal receiver downfield against the defense. That's not quite possible, but I'm not sure. But in any case, for Iona, it's a touchdown, so that, of course, makes them feel good as they set up with their strange-looking extra point that we've seen over the years with everybody lined off to the left. They'll just shift over the football as Cowper gets ready to kick it.
Just been amazed at how Iona able to march up and down the field against what is a pretty good St. John's defense. But the Gales offense, which is the strength of their ball club, certainly coming to the forefront here this afternoon. Ball placed down, kicked, it is up, and it is good once again. So timeout on the field. It is Iona now back on top in their home opener against St. John's, 14-7.
That was a 2-yard run by Aldo Belusi, capping off a 61-yard drive. Took 5 minutes and 45 seconds, 14 plays for Iona. And as you mentioned, a domination there. The Gales have certainly been able to move the football. And obviously, when we talked before the game, Gary, the thing that we thought was the strength of the St. John's ball club was their defense. And Iona has been able to just run rampant over the defense thus far. Well, for the complete line of Russell Athletic Sportswear, it's Dan's Sports Center on Cedar Street in Dobbs Ferry. Dan's Sports features the finest equipment at the lowest prices, attentive personnel service, and teams and organizations are especially catered to. For all good sports, it's Dan's on Cedar Street in Dobbs Ferry. Call them at 693-1754. That's 693-1754 for Dan's Sports Center in Dobbs Ferry.
And we might mention that Dan's and Hank Margata is here today with a sales location near the entrance to Mazzella Field, and they'll be on hand selling a lot of great souvenirs, athletic equipment and apparel at a lot of the Iona football games. 5 big home games. We'll run down the schedule a bit later on, and of course they'll also be back for a number of the Iona basketball games starting in December. We mentioned Iona St. John's, a long-time rivalry, which the Redmen lead 12-2. Iona may have a chance to play the Redmen of St. John's in basketball. The Gales will open up their season against Columbia, but that's part of the Lapcheck tournament at Alumni Hall in Jamaica.
Well, if St. John's and Iona both win in the course of the opener of the tournament, they will meet in the finals as the Gales kick it right through the end zone, and St. John's will start on their 20.
James Cowper kicked off from the 50-yard line. That was because of that last penalty on the goal line play. It was a personal foul against St. John's, which was marked off 15 yards after the kick.
Technically, the penalty from what was signaled was illegal participation. I'm not real sure what that means, but that's what our book says that the sign was.
So Cowper drew drilling the ball through the end zone, and now St. John's down by 7 again. Go to work at the 20-yard line, and Anthony Russo. And so far, the Gales have certainly had his number. No gain, even lost a couple of yards on the play.
Yeah, it was the 2-yard loss for the St. John's Redmen, and again, they have stopped the run cold here today. Second down, and actually lost 5.
Loss of 5, 3 minutes to go, first quarter. And again, the Redmen looking for their first down of the afternoon. 14-7, Gales lead it.
If I'm not mistaken, they've only had one play that's gained anything on the afternoon.
William Santella in trouble, and he is dragged down, and the Gale defense really pouring it on. That time, Andrew Cox with great penetration.
Yeah, Cox did it a lot last year. You saw him really blossom as a defensive player last year. That time he was able to stop Santella, and again, they did not gain anything. So 3rd and 15 for St. John's as the clock continues to run. Their offense has been pretty horrendous thus far.
Russo now split out as a receiver. Total yards, 110 for Iona. 2 touchdowns, -3 for the St. John's offense. Again, their touchdown was a defensive return for a score by Al Bruno. 3rd and long on the ground. Russo, nothing. Vinny Santalia, number 90, meeting him with help from his friends. And once again, Joe Parker, for the 3rd time this afternoon, will have to punt the ball for St. John's.
And he has yet to come up with a real good punt. Each time he's been punting from deep in his own territory. This time he'll line up at the goal line, and he'll be kicking it off to McGowan, who's standing back at about the 48 of the Redmen.
Joe Parker from close to his goal line. Eugene McGowan waiting at the 50-yard line, so Iona will get great field position once again. Parker, plenty of time. The kick, this a little better. It's going to be taken by McGowan at the 45, cuts to his right to the 40, trying to skirt down that sideline, and finally brought down a penalty flag. It may be grabbing the face mask against St. John's.
Michael Russo is the gentleman who made the tackle for the Redmen, and it probably is a face mask penalty against St. John's, so Iona is going to have even better field position as they'll move this ball down deeper into Redmen territory.
So the Gales with a golden opportunity not to blow the game open, but to build themselves pretty much of a formidable lead. Leading now 14-7. They will have great field position after this 15-yard penalty.
Well, based on what we've seen thus far from the St. John's offense, the lead of a couple of touchdowns is going to be very hard for them to overcome. A 15-yard face mask penalty, so Iona takes over at the 21 of St. John's.
35 yards in penalties now on 3 calls against the Redmen. The ball on the St. John's 22-yard line. First down, 10. We've got James McMahon back in the ball game at the running back position. Man in motion is Joe Esparro. Bill Highlands had a great afternoon. Here's McMahon up the middle, and that time St. John's able to read that little flip, and McMahon caught for about a loss of 1 on the play.
Yeah, the initial contact was made by Mark Winkler, who is another defensive lineman for St. John's. He made the stop on that play as the Gales' James McMahon was unable to get through the line, and it'll be 2nd down and 9. They did give him a 1-yard gain on that.
Checking in the ball game, number 3, another newcomer to Iona, Louis Gaspari. He is a real speedster, split wide to the left. 2nd down and 9. 45 seconds to go in the quarter. From the St. John's 21, Highland with time, throwing over the middle, and nobody there.
I don't know who that was intended for. It must have been a mix-up of some kind. The only man close to the play was Silo, but he was about 10 yards in front of the pass, so it will be 3rd down now and 9 for Iona.
Timothy Silo trying to run that post pattern was tied up, and Highland threw the ball to where he thought Silo would be.
But, of course, in that situation, you either want to hit your receiver or make sure nobody else can catch the football, because the Gales are getting close to being in Jim Cowper field goal range. Right now, it would be about a 38-yard kick, so they probably need to pick up a few more yards.
3rd and 9, number 80 is Sparrow in motion again, faking the handoff. It's an end-around play. The reverse, it's Eugene McGowan, and he's not going to get the first down.
Gained about 4, I think, Gary, so we're going to see Cowper, I'm sure, here, as it will be 4th down and about 5. They're going to mark the ball at about the 18, I believe.
So a gain of 4. It is 4th down and long as McGowan has lost his shoe.
And this will be a field goal of about 35 yards for Jimmy Cowper. Now, we know he's got the leg for this. Won a football game with a long kick last year.
He beat C.W. Post at the final gun with a 42-yarder. And as Chuck mentioned, this about 35 yards. Overall on the season, Cowper was 50%, 8 for 16.
Clock has run out for some reason.
The end of the quarter. So they didn't get the kick off, and they'll do that to start the second quarter. So at the end of one here for Mazzella with the field goal pending for Iona. The Gales 14 and the Redmen 7. Back with the second quarter right after this message. For a 35-yard field goal. Angle a bit to the left. The ball placed down, and it is up, and no good. Wide to the left.
Plenty of distance, though, but it was wide to the left, and Iona gets nothing out of that drive.
So the Gales, for all their total domination of this football game, still only lead by 1 touchdown, 14-7. Again, the St. John's score a gift on a deflected pass. Al Bruno lumbering 35 yards for a touchdown. And the Gales now missing a chance for a field goal. And St. John's still very much in this ball game as they take over on their own 20-yard line.
Well, it'll be time for them to try to reestablish Russo. The Gales have stopped him totally in this ball game thus far.
St. John's from left to right in the second quarter. William Santella still at quarterback. He has had a very rough afternoon. There's Anthony Russo diving over the right tackle, and he's able to get 2-3 yards on the play for Anthony Russo.
Well, that's a big step forward for the St. John's offense thus far. They were in negative yardage. Now they're back out to about probably 0 yardage for the day. It'll be 2nd and 7. Call it maybe 6. They gave him 4.
Anthony Russo, the Liberty Conference Offensive Player of the Year. I don't think there was any doubt about that one. Had 168.5 as his per-game average on the ground last season.
Well, he's the favorite to win that award again this year. No question, he is the premier offensive player in the Liberty Conference.
2nd down and 6. Russo again, and again Iona in the backfield. I believe that was Eugene McCarthy and Andrew Cox all over him, and that's a loss of a couple.
Yeah, they've been able to stop him on that one. Mike Corcoran was back in that backfield there, too, so a good play by the Iona defense. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
Might mention Mike Cochran playing in place of the injured Tom Oakes Jr., one of Iona's best linebackers. Tom is week to week with a broken wrist, and he should be healthy for next week's game against Siena.
He is dressed.
I know he was awfully disappointed at not being able to play here this afternoon against St. John's.
He is dressed and standing right in front of us on the bench here.
3rd and 8, and almost intercepted by the Gales, and that might have been another touchdown right there. Dan Rocco, all he had to do was catch the football. He had plenty of daylight, and he's going to kick himself about that one.
Yeah, he would have scored. He could have walked home if he caught that football. But again, another 3 plays and out for the St. John's offense.
And Joe Parker, we have mentioned his name quite often this afternoon, and again from deep in his own territory. Eugene McGowan.
Again, the Gales will get good field position out of this. McGowan back at about midfield.
Good snap. The punt is a line drive, and it's a good one, sending McGowan back, and he's going to have to chase the ball back to his own 20-yard line. McGowan faking a lateral, running to his left, and he is literally running for his life, and that time, great coverage by St. John's after a great line drive punt by Joe Parker.
Well, Jason Villar is the player that made the tackle, but there were plenty of Redmen back there. A superb punt by Parker. That'll boost the average up. That ball, McGowan had to run back 30 yards to pick up that football, and he had to run back and pick it up because it would have kept rolling, and that was a tremendous punt for Parker. We'll get the yardage at 58-yard punt for Parker. So he had kicked earlier 17, 19, 35, and 58. He's getting better as the game goes along, and they say practice makes you better. He's had a lot of chances to punt.
1st down 10 for the Gales, and Billy Highland, who has been a magician this afternoon, going to work from the 20-yard line. I think Beluzzi in at running back. Fake the handoff to Beluzzi. Highland throws. He's got his man. 1st down, Joe Sparrow to the 35-yard line.
Again, a super pass from Highland. He just winged it right in there. Sparrow a diving catch, and that got a 1st down for Iona out at the 35.
Billy Highland has been right on the top of his game this afternoon. There is a flag on the play.
Holding against Iona, so wipe that play out. They'll go back now to about their own 10, so that play wiped out by the holding.
get the feeling that the longer this game goes on and Iona unable, despite their domination, to rack up more points, Bob Bricka has to consider himself to be very fortunate to be in this football game. Holding against Iona, and it'll still be first down, but first down and 20.
Yeah, the ball is placed back at, I think, about the 8-yard line, so we've got a long way to go here.
Iona opening up their season against St. John's here this afternoon, the 19th, another home game against Siena, and then yet another home game, the third week of the season, the 26th, against Catholic University. There's a draw play to James McMahon on first and very long, and that doesn't really do too much to get Iona out of the shadow of their own goal line.
Yeah, they are way, way back. Of course, in college football, you mark off the holding penalty from the spot of the infraction, and that's why the Gales are way back now. They've got, they're on about the 9, and they're going to have to get all the way out to the 30, so call it second down and 21 for Iona.
Clock moving, still early in the second quarter, 12.5 minutes to go. It is Iona 14 and St. John's 7. Second down and 20 for Iona, back at their own 10-yard line.
20 for Iona.
Billy Highland, a great senior quarterback, obviously off to a good start so far this afternoon. Another draw play, James McMahon able to go forward for about 3 or 4 yards. But now third and still very long for the Gales.
Well, that time number 64, Mark Winkler, read the draw play and stopped it immediately as McMahon was able to pick up only 1 yard, so third and 19 for Iona.
We'll get some shots later of the crowd, but ringing the grassy area all around Mozilla Field. The stands only hold about 1,200 people, but easily about 3,000 people in attendance here this afternoon. Just a beautiful day. I guess fall officially underway here on the New Rochelle campus. Third and 19 for Highland. He's going to go long, going for Gaspari, and it was almost intercepted by Killfeather, number 35, a defensive back. Good coverage by Killfeather, matching stride for stride with the Gales speedster Gaspari.
Yeah, he had that play blanketed, and there was no way that Gaspari was going to make that catch, and now the Gales will be forced to punt from their own end zone for the first time as Eric Minicall is a couple of yards deep in the Iona end zone.
So it looks like St. John's will get some good field position after this kick by Eric Minicall, his second of the afternoon. Iadivio is deep for St. John's. Line drive kick. Iadivio at the 45-yard line. Nice move to Gale territory. Still going at the 40, 35. He might go down that right sideline, and he's knocked out. No, he's inbounds. Touchdown. And St. John's again strikes against Iona.
No offensive touchdowns, but the game is tied, or it will be if they make the extra point.
Iadivio with a 53-yard, I believe a 53-yard punt return. Anthony Iadivio.
Boy, oh boy. I want to tell you, Iona has dominated this game from start to finish, but 2 plays have St. John's within 1 point of the Gales.
A junior wide receiver, 5'9", 174 pounds, and they call it officially a 54-yard punt return by Iadivio to make it 14-13.
Well, once he got past the initial defenders, he had a lot of daylight on the right side, and there's a terrible snap on the extra point.
Joe Parker, the kicker, trying to pick it up. He just says, forget it. Iona could run this back. Andrew Cox at the 40, the 30. He's going to go.
No,
one man to catch him, and he's brought down.
No points on that. He could have gotten 2 points on it.
He could have gotten points on it, but you got to go all the way. Close, but no cigar. Andrew Cox.
He really was tired at the end of that run. We have seen some awful big guys trying to run all the way for touchdowns. Bruno made it. Cox did not. Now we have the official discussion. There's a penalty flag on the play, and we'll have to wait and see what that is. More than likely, if anything, it would be an illegal block against Iona from the looks of where the flag was thrown, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, you know, that is one of the rare plays in college football, the return of a muffed extra point, and we had mentioned how many strange plays had occurred in this 11-game winning streak by St. John's over Iona. In fact, the Redmen won a game at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon a couple of years back when they returned it for points after a blocked field goal, and that made NFL Today on NBC the following day with such a strange play. Andrew Cox almost did it again for Iona.
It was a personal foul against Iona, the penalty. They're now explaining that to Coach Harold Crocker. Of course, he doesn't like what he's being told, but
Personal foul against St. John's is what it is.
That's not what they signaled. I think that's a mistake because he pointed towards Iona. We'll wait and see.
They are talking to Coach Harold Crocker, who right now I would think is a little bit of a bear. His team has totally dominated, but leads by only one, 14-13. Again, an interception return by Al Bruno and a 54-yard punt return for a touchdown by Anthony Iadivio.
Yeah, it was against St. John's, my mistake. And we'll see what happens. They'll be kicking it off from their own 20-yard line, so Iona will get good field position out of this. Unbelievable.
We have seen some things for the highlight reels. I'd like to get a replay on that punt return by Anthony Iadivio.
There's the group of people sitting on the grass on the hill behind the goal post here at Iona. Beautiful day to sit back there. St. John's will have to kick off now from their 25, it looks like. No, I think it's going to be the 20. A 15-yard penalty, and they'll move it back. So
really no strange change in the script between Iona and St. John's. The Gales are winning, but barely by 1 point. And the Redmen, being totally outplayed this afternoon, have struck in unusual ways to keep in the ball game. And this has to be of deep concern to Iona and a little bit frustrating for the Gale coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't given up a first down in the game, and you're only winning by 1 point. That's kind of hard to believe.
So they're going to sort out the penalty against St. John's on that return, so they will mark it off before the kickoff, and the Redmen will kick off from the 20-yard line as opposed to what normally would be the 35-yard line.
So they should get good field position out of this.
John Ledwith kicking it off, and it'll come down at the 30. McGowan at the 40, 45, 50. He's got one man to beat into St. John's territory, down the left sideline, and finally knocked down at the 24-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you, this game has got a few for the highlight reel. No question about that. Russo brought him down, Michael Russo, number 23, but he brought him down right at the 25, so Iona with superb field position as a result of the personal foul on the extra point muff that they tried to run back for a touchdown.
A 44-yard return for Eugene McGowan. And the Gales, looking to add to their 1 point lead, take over at the St. John's 25-yard line. Billy Highland, number 2 at quarterback. Beluzzi, the handoff, right tackle, 1-2 yards, and that's about it. Scott Kantrowitz, number 30, in on that tackle.
Well, the Gales may be trying to just calm things down a bit here. The last couple of plays have been wild ones. 10.5 to go in the first half of this game, with Iona on top by 1.
Tim Silo, number 14, wide to the right. He caught the first touchdown pass of the afternoon. Thomas Moan wide to the left. Highland faking the handoff, will throw deep down the right sideline. Silo can't get there, and Pogoginski as well. He'll run up and retrieve the football down that right corner of the end zone.
Yeah, that ball was thrown away by Highland. He had nobody open, and the pressure was on as he again had to roll out to the right. Billy on the day is 8 of 17. Let's show another look at the McGowan kickoff return. You see him right over here, the tail end of the kickoff return. That play might have saved some points for Iona as McGowan was brought down at about the 25-yard line.
On a difficulty scale on that fall, I'd give him about a 7.2.
3rd and 9 for Iona.
3rd down 9 for the Gales. Big play, shotgun for Highland. He's got some time, throws to the left. He's got his man wide open to the 15-yard line, and that should be very close to that first down marker.
That'll be a decision time if they're short, whether Coach Crocker will go for it or try for the 3 points on the field goal. They are going to be about a yard shy, so it is 4th down.
Eugene McGowan, a very busy player for the Gales this afternoon.
They're going to go for it. No field goal this time. Iona is going for the first down.
They have to get to the 15-yard line. The ball on the 16. 4th and 1. Aldo Beluzzi, number 25. Jim Thompson, the blocking back, number 21. 4th and 1. Iona leading by 1.
Big play for the Iona offense right here. Now we got to delay a game. They did not get the play off.
Gales taking too much time, and that might change the thinking by Coach Crocker. That'll move the ball to the 20-yard line, which would be a 37-yard field goal. for James Cowper. He's already missed one from 35 yards.
I suspect that they're going to go for it here. Yeah, he's going to go for it. He's not going to go for the 3. I think Coach Crocker feels that he really needs to get more than 3 points out of this drive, especially when it's not a sure 3 points.
Hey, the way this game is going, you can't get enough points, right?
You're right. No shotgun, though.
4th down and 6. Another big play from the 21-yard line. They have to get to the 15.
3 wideouts to the left.
Highland throwing, deflected up in the air. Who's got it? Nobody's got it, but St. John's will get the ball back. Another ball deflected at the line of scrimmage, and I was almost waiting for somebody from St. John's to come out of the pack and rumble 80 yards.
Well, it was certainly looking very much like the previous play when they scored a touchdown. But this time, all they needed to do was stop Iona to take over possession. So with 9:05 to go in the first half, St. John's has the ball. And here it is. You'll see, again, the one problem Highland has is that he's short, and that was deflected a few times before anybody was able to try to come up with it, and it fell harmlessly to the ground. 1st and 10 for St. John's as their anemic offense tries again.
Anemic. They have not gotten a first down, but they do have 13 points. Santella to throw. Straight back. Fires over the middle. It's going to be short. Intercepted by Al Mellon for Iona, and the Gales get the football right back at the 45-yard line.
Now, that worked out well for Iona. That pass was well underthrown by the quarterback Santella, and Mellon had good coverage, and he picked it off for another turnover, the first for Iona this game on an interception.
Al Mellon coming up with that pickoff. A junior, came up with 1 interception last year, and now he's got 1 in the season's opener. And again, Iona taking over in St. John's territory. Turnovers now 1 apiece.
That was a particularly impressive interception for Mellon in the fact that he was in single coverage on that play, and there was no help for him, and he had the coverage like a blanket.
Jack Urizzo wide to the left for the Gales. Let's see if they strike quickly after that turnover from the 45-yard line. Highland pitch out to the left side. It's Aldo Beluzzi across the line of scrimmage and going forward to the 41 or the 42. Gain of about 3 on that play.
Yeah, he went around left end there and was able to pick up just a couple. Good pursuit, again, by the St. John's defensive unit led by Scott Biter, and the linebacker who was able to maintain pursuit and not allow Beluzzi to turn the corner. Well, the Beachmont Tavern is being the sponsor of this portion of our game. The #1 hangout of Iona Gale fans. They're having the best buffalo wings in town, a great Sunday brunch, and Monday night football parties. The Beachmont Tavern at 750 North Avenue in New Rochelle, right across the street from Iona.
2nd down and 7. Be a big party in the Beachmont after the game with the Gales win. Highland back at the 50, throws. He's got his man McGowan, who has been Iona's offensive star along with Billy Highland this afternoon, and that is good for another first down for the Gales at the 26-yard line.
We've got a penalty on it. It's against Iona, so wipe out the play. I believe it's another holding call against the Gales. That'll move them back from the point of the infraction. And Coach Crocker didn't like that call, but I believe it was a holding call. We'll wait to get the official signal from our referees. Another good-looking play. McGowan has been able to get himself wide open here today. Here is the call. It is holding against Iona.
So Eugene McGowan, that one doesn't count on the stat sheet, but as we mentioned, he has been tremendous, both catching the ball and returning a punt to just a short while ago, 44 yards.
Yeah, he's done very well offensively, and as I mentioned, he seems to be able to get himself wide open thus far in this ball game.
Back at the 41-yard line.
2nd down. The Gales have to move all the way to the 35 of St. John, so they need 24 yards on this play.
Good bet Highland may throw. What do you think?
I would think that either this play or the next play, they will throw the football.
Billy Highland will throw the football if he can, rolling out to the right, being chased by Bruno. Incomplete at midfield. I think that was McGowan again.
No, I believe.
Oh, it's Pogaczynski.
Yeah.
The newcomer got his hand on the ball, or Dan Green rather, 89. Could not hold on to the ball at the 50-yard line, so 3rd and very long now for the Gales at their 41-yard line.
Yeah, that was thrown a little bit behind to Green as Highland again was on the run, rolling out to the right, and now 3rd and long again. So St. John's defense has certainly tightened up in the last couple of possessions as the Gales have not been able to take advantage of some pretty good field position, and this time they're moving backwards.
From the shotgun, Highland retreating to the 30 with time. Stays in the pocket, down the middle, complete to Pogaczynski. Pogajinski's got the first down for Iona inside the 30-yard line. A beautiful pass to Pogajinski, the freshman, number 88.
Well, Pogajinski made that play, and I'll tell you why. The pass was underthrown, and the defenders were going down the field, and what happens in those situations is the offensive receiver gets a look at where the ball is going before the defender. He stopped and was able to come up short, pick up the ball, and rumble forward for a first down. Good-looking play for Iona.
And again, Iona able to move the football. That's the second time today they have come up with a first down on a third and very long play.
And he picked up 30 yards on that play.
To the ground, Aldo Beluzzi beating one, beating two, and he keeps on going, and he nearly got another first down for the Gales. Aldo Beluzzi has looked good.
I think he might have even picked it up. We'll have to wait and see. He's right near the marker. He did pick up a first down.
Gain of 11 on the play for the transfer from Pace, Aldo Beluzzi. So the Gales with a chance to get some more points out of this. Let's take a look at that handoff to or the pass rather.
This is the first down. You'll watch it. You'll see here that the receiver stops, and you see what happens is he stopped short, picked up the ball as the defender kept going, and a good play by the freshman receiver.
And falling down was the cornerback, Ennis. Now here's Beluzzi on the carry again on first down, and nothing much doing that time. He lost a couple.
Initial pursuit on that play was made by Carl Volpe. We've called out his name a couple of times. He stopped that play as Beluzzi was not able to get around left end. 12 first downs for Iona, 0 for St. John's.
What would you think the odds would be if you see that statistic to see the score, which is 14-13? 12-0 is more like it the way this game has been going.
Well, if you followed this series, you might guess that, but that's the only instance in which you would make such a prediction.
Second down and 9 for Iona. Bill Highland faking the handoff, rolling. He's got time, plenty of time in the pocket, steps up, throws, and he's got his man inside the 5-yard line. It's going to be another first down for Iona. Jack Urizzo with that incompletion.
And we have a St. John's Redmen down on the play, and I believe that's Christopher Carew, who is down on the field right now, and he, of course, has been a defensive force for St. John's both last year and throughout the beginning of this game, but he is hurt right now as the trainers come out to take a look at him.
Jack Urizzo with his first reception of the afternoon, the senior, and after the injury timeout, it's going to be first down and goal to go for Iona. But right now, the trainers for St. John's looking at their very fine linebacker, Chris Carew.
Yeah, he looks to be, maybe had the wind knocked out of him.
Let's take a look at the replay of that last reception by Jack Urizzo. Again, the fake handoff. Highland rolling to the right. Plenty of time. Good protection. And Urizzo diving inside the 5 to make the catch at about the 3-yard line.
You stated it correctly when you said good protection. That's what made that play because it allowed Highland to look to a secondary receiver. Urizzo was not his primary receiver on that play, but being able to buy some time, he was able to wait for Urizzo to get open down inside the 5. As you see Carew walking off the field, so it looks like he's not hurt too badly.
That's Carew, the young man who had 2 defensive recoveries for touchdowns in St. John's wild 30-27 victory last year. Redmen take a timeout, their first of the ball game. There you look at Coach Harold Crocker. Wants to make the playoffs this season. He felt his team had a good chance to make it last year with a record of 7-2-1, but Ramapo ended up going and Iona ended up staying home. Yeah. And obviously part of the way that Iona will get to the playoffs is a victory here this afternoon.
Well, certainly this is the game that cost them the Liberty Conference last year, losing that wild game to St. John's down at Redmen Field. But they certainly have a good chance to win this one in that they are dominating the football game. But again, as we mentioned, they're only up by 1 point.
Coach Crocker in his 8th year as coach at Iona, a lifetime record of 28 wins, 41 losses, 1 tie. But Chuck, those numbers misleading a little bit because they began the Crocker era with consecutive 0-11 seasons. So after the 0-22, Crocker 28-19-1 thereafter. Bob Ricca, on the other hand, you see him on the St. John's sideline. In his 15th year, 86 victories, 54 losses, and 1 tie. So Bob Ricca, the dean of Liberty Conference coaches, and 11-0 against Coach Crocker.
Yeah, he's certainly doing a heck of a job at St. John's, building a football program, and has maintained it over the last few years. He's certainly have a quality football program at St. John's. All right, now here come the Gales with a 1st and goal from the 2.
Another golden opportunity. Thompson 21, Beluzzi 25, the running backs for Highland. Will he keep it on the ground? Here's Beluzzi off right tackle, nothing. So it'll be 2nd down and goal to go.
Good play that time by Thomas O'Grady. Was able to make the play for the St. John's Redmen. Check that. That was number 57, Scott Biter, and he was the one who made the play.
If there is one part that I suspect about the Gale offense is a large running back in this situation, like Tony Morrow was a couple of years ago,
short
who
yardage.
can really bull in from the 1 or 2 yard line. They didn't really have that with Byron Womack, although Byron scored an awful lot of touchdowns.
Short yardage situations are the thing that might be a bugaboo for Iona offensively this year. Let's check it out. It's now 2nd down and goal from the 2.
Highland, an audible at the line of scrimmage, shouting out instructions left and right. He'll throw in the end zone for Urizzo. No flag, and I was watching the official there for a moment because Urizzo was bumped.
Well, I'm not real sure who initiated the contact there. It might have been Urizzo. I think Iona's going to take a timeout here and discuss what they're going to do with this play.
Tom Kilfeather, the defensive back, in that corner with Jack Urizzo. 3rd down and goal to go. And this is all too important, so the Gales will take a timeout to talk it over on the sideline.
Well, I think what happened there is that there are a couple of reasons no flag was thrown. I doubt the ball was really catchable, and it looked to me like Urizzo is the gentleman who initiated the contact there. We talked earlier, Gary, about Anthony Russo for the St. John's Redmen, and he has carried the ball 6 times for -2 yards, so I would suspect that the Gales defensive coaches and Coach Crocker have to be happy about that. They said keeping him to a relatively stable amount of yardage, maybe anywhere between 50 and 100 would be a real accomplishment. He is in negative numbers right now, and I don't think anybody would have thought that could happen.
Tim Silo with a touchdown for the Gales. He's number 14. He has the only touchdown pass of the afternoon thrown by Bill Highland. And Highland now leading his team back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and goal to go from the 2-yard line. 5 minutes, 21 seconds to go. 2nd quarter, Iona leading St. John's by a score of 14-13. Both the Liberty Conference and the season's opener for both ball clubs.
This is an important play right here, and it'll be interesting to see if the Gales do fall short, what Coach Crocker will do if it becomes 4th down and 2.
Ball on the right hash mark is Highland. A long count will roll out to the left. He's got some daylight, and he dives in and scores himself. Billy Highland on the quarterback sweep, and the Gales back on the board, leading now 20-13.
Well, what that was, and something we have not seen a whole lot of from Iona, was actually an option play. Highland rolling out. He had the option of either keeping it himself or pitching it back to the running back, and he found the hole and just dove in for the 6 points. So a big play for Iona to open up that lead, and now they can open it up to 8 with a successful extra point.
And talking to Coach Crocker in the week, he admitted it was very unusual to design a running play with Highland in mind. Normally when Billy runs, it's out of necessity. James Cowper looking for his 3rd extra point of the afternoon. The ball placed down, kicked, it is up, and it is good. So the Gales, like the race between the tortoise and the hare, build up another lead. Let's see if St. John's can catch up. It's 21-13, Iona with an 8-point advantage.
Yeah, it certainly is a little more comfortable now for Coach Crocker. That was a very, very gutsy call down there with Highland on the option, something we haven't seen a whole lot of on that in the Highland era. Let's take a look at it. Here you see Highland rolling out. He's got the option to pitch back to the running back if he decides to do so, who is out of the picture, but believe me, he's back there on the left side. There you see Beluzzi back, but Highland saw the opening and was able to roll in and score for his 1st touchdown running this season.
And good blocking by Guy Stankiewicz, making that room for Billy Highland to score for the Gales.
It certainly was a play that I don't think Bob Rickett and the St. John's defensive coaching unit was expecting out of Iona. I don't think, Gary, that we've ever seen an option-type play with Billy Highland at quarterback for Iona in the 3 years that he's been here.
Not even sure it was an option, Chuck. I thought that Highland had in his mind he was going to run right from the get-go. And certainly that block by Stankiewicz, once he got around that corner, Highland was able to dive into the end zone untouched.
5:16 to go in the 1st half. Iona by 8.
Jimmy Cowper kicking off for the Gales. This is Charles Broadway at the 10-15. Down Broadway across the 20-yard line to the 22. Charles Broadway, the backup to Anthony Russo, is the main returner on kickoff. So Anthony Russo and company will go back to work. Amazingly enough, still looking for their initial first down of the afternoon.
Yeah, offensively, they are, I believe, still in negative yardage. I'm not sure. We'd have to add it up here and see. Russo is -2.
Well, we were told that Sean Sharkey, who played against Iona last year, would start. But right from the beginning, it's been William Santella, obviously a very tough debut for number 14, the St. John's quarterback. Here's Russo sweeping left. 25, breaks a tackle. His best run of the afternoon. He's got the first down at the 38 before he's run out of bounds. But that's a nice 17-yard gain for Anthony Russo.
That's the first time he was able to turn the corner and show his speed, and he did do that, breaking around left end and getting the 17 yards. And that's the first down for the Redmen, and that's what they like to do, and that's what they will hope to do all season long, is depend on their big back Russo to pick up their offensive yardage.
There you see the time of day, 2:12 and 67 degrees on the Iona message board right outside the John Mulcahy Center. First down 10 for the Redmen. We haven't said that this afternoon. Here's a handoff and nothing at all right up the middle of that line. Billy Osterman, number 33, the fullback, doesn't normally carry the ball. The Gales were not crossed up. It'll be second down and 10.
Well, Osterman is almost a decoy there. When they give him the ball, you kind of expect Iona to be looking for Russo, but they've been well aware of Osterman all day. He hasn't gained anything either.
Total yards, 201 for Iona, and they have 21 points. 12 yards for St. John's, and they have 13 points. Santella, the rollout. Will they call it complete?
Yes, they will.
Iona saying no, he trapped it, but it's going to be a catch complete to Iadivio. And that's good for another first down.
Well, this is kind of what we saw last year. St. John's totally inept on offense for much of the first half and the beginning of the second half. Then all of a sudden they started moving the football. This is 2 straight first downs. Here you take another look at it. Here's Santella throwing to Iadivio, and he catches the ball on the ground. Kind of hard to tell there if it hit the ground, but the referee probably had the better angle and made the call.
12-yard pickup, just shy of midfield at the 49-yard line. Here's Osterman again, and he does not get anything. Andrew Cox stopping him for no gain. So the 3 times they have tried Osterman this afternoon has not worked at all for the Redmen.
Yeah, they've been able to stop him completely. And Russo mostly has been stopped as well, except that one play where he gained the 17 yards. Second down and 10 now for the Redmen. Ball right at their own 49-yard line.
Iadivio, who made that punt return for a touchdown. Number 25, wide to the right. Tom McPherson split to the left. Russo, the lone running back now. Second down and 10 from the St. John's 49-yard line. Santella dropping straight back to throw. Lofting one deep for McPherson, and it's intercepted again by Al Mellon, number 37, his second interception of the afternoon.
Yes, sir. 1 last year and 2 in the first game this year. Again, he was in single coverage and had the receiver covered very well and was able to get better position and pick the ball off. And Iona has a chance with 3:20 to go in the first half to score again. That's the second St. John's turnover. Iona, of course, only one. Iona's one resulting in a touchdown return.
William Santella really not getting any zip on his passes at all. And again, that ball underthrown, and Al Mellon had an even shot with the wide receiver Tom McPherson. We'll see it again, and it was Mellon who came down with the football.
Late pressure from the Iona defensive line here, you will see. And there you see he had to throw the ball up and was unable to get it to his receiver as the Gales picked it off.
Iona taking over, first down and 10. Running play, James McMahon off left tackle, and he gets thrown back for about a 1-yard loss. Let's see where they mark his forward progress.
They will mark it for a loss. It'll be second and 11.
Nearing the 3-minute mark of this first half, Iona with a 21-13 lead. Iona backed up at their own 18-yard line following that interception by Al Mellon.
Rizzo coming into the game late. I don't know if Iona has 12 men on the field or not. No.
Yeah, we're not going to count them. If the officials won't count them, we're not going to. Bill Highland, sweep to the right side, and McMahon with the carry across the 25-yard line. It's going to be short of the first down. It's going to be 3rd and 4 or 5 for Iona.
Yeah, but a good gain there by McMahon. He found a hole off the right side of that Iona offensive line and took it forward for a 7-yard gain.
So the Gales will have a 3rd, and they call it 3rd and 3 now, as the clock winding down to about the 2-minute mark. And now the Gales will take their second timeout.
Yeah, this is a big play for them. They would like to at least maintain possession for the rest of this half and maybe try to get some more points on the board. And with 2:10 to go and 3rd down and 2, I think they want to talk it over and see what play they're going to run.
Right in the background, you see the Iona sweater. That's part of a location by Dan's Sports Center in Dobbs Ferry. You see the Iona jersey. What a beautiful day. You could not have hoped for better weather. And indeed, we've got a very big crowd and folks enjoying this football game, which has seen its share of very strange and very exciting plays here this afternoon.
Well, 2 timeouts left for St. John's, 1 for Iona. They only have 1 timeout remaining. 2:10 to go, first half. Iona up by 8 and the football.
We mentioned the Gales on the 19th will be hosting the Siena Saints at 1 o'clock right here at Mazzella Field. And then the following week, the 26th of September, it is Catholic University from Washington, D.C.
Actually, 4 of the first 5 games, Gary, are right here at Mazzella Field, so the second half of the season is going to be a tough stretch of road games for Iona.
And we'll be televising 3 of those home games, including this one this afternoon. Later in the season, the Iona-Wagner game, played on October 10th, will be shown on UA Columbia. And then the homecoming event, October 31st against Sacred Heart. And I don't believe, as play back in, I don't believe the Gales got the first down on 3rd down and 2.
We're going to have to wait and see. I think you're right. It's very close. They may measure, but it looks to me like they'll have to kick the football away.
St. John's does have 2 timeouts, so they might want to burn one here as the clock moving at 1:50 to go. And now St. John's does call timeout. It's going to be 4th and 1 for Iona. So the Redmen will get the ball back with plenty of time to maneuver.
Actually, they didn't call timeout because the clock is still running, and now they've got 2 units on the field. Good Lord, how many people do they have?
Maybe they should have called timeout. Eric Menacall will punt. 1:30 to go. Clock moving. Line drive kick by Menacall. There's a flag on the play. Iadivio wants no part of that. He's going to let it just roll by.
The flag.
And Iona will down it at about the 11-yard line. Let's see what those flags are about.
It's got to be too many men on the field, I believe, against St. John's. I was watching them try to run off, and they didn't make it. And I think Iona's probably going to decline it and just let the ball rest down there at the 11-yard line. Unless it gets a first down, of course.
They will get a first down out of this. As Chuck mentioned, they had 2 units, or at least fragments of 2 units on the field. And on a 4th and 1 situation, the 5-yard penalty, if it is indeed against St. John's, would be enough to give Iona the first down.
Well, they're discussing it right now, and we'll wait and see what the officials decide. And here they come over. I believe that's too many men on the field against St. John's.
Smart move by Iadivio, letting that ball bounce, and because if he had tried to field it and let's say it bounced off his knee and Iona would recover, the Gales would certainly take it there off the play as opposed to getting the first down via penalty.
Substitution infraction is the call, and that's exactly what we thought it was. It is enough. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it gets Iona a first down out at the 33-yard line. So a big break for the Gales. Actually worked out well for them. They waited late to try to send their punting team in, and they confused St. John's, and the Redmen were not able to get organized, and they subsequently give up the possession back to Iona.
On the 31-yard line after the penalty, so the Gales keep control of the ball with 1:18 to go. And Highland looking for more damage through the hands of Jack Rizzo, and that was a catchable ball down that left sideline. So it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Wasn't going to be much of a gain, as Killfeather was over there to probably put the hit on Rizzo as soon as he caught it, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
Gary Stanley, Chuck Strome, the season's opener has been everything that we have advertised. 21-13 Iona, 55 yards and penalties against the Redmen, 41 against Iona. So neither coach, I'm sure, very happy about those high numbers. Bill Highland, 2nd down 10, draw play McMahon, not fooling anybody, and Al Bruno wrapping up James McMahon after a very short gain of 1 yard. We're nearing the 1-minute mark. It's going to be 3rd down and 9 for Iona.
Well, the Gales only have 1 timeout remaining, so they're not going to waste it here. With a 3rd down and 8, they'll run a play, and if they get a 1st down and move down the field a little bit, then they'll see if they want to use their timeout.
The stands you see on the far side, the St. John's contingent, a very big contingent indeed from Jamaica, New York. Not that it's a long trip. A lot of people discussing whether to go to the football game or go to the beach this afternoon. It's just a perfect fall day. Highland double pumping. There's McGowan, 1st down in St. John's territory at the 45-yard line. And the Gales, I believe, will probably stop the clock with 23 seconds to go. And Eugene McGowan again continues having a great afternoon.
No, they call timeout here, and they're out of timeouts. The clock was going to stop because they had to move the chains, but Iona has used their last timeout. We're going to take another look at that play. It was a beautiful-looking play from Highland. Again, faking to the left, and then he sees McGowan again wide open over the middle, and Eugene making a few extra moves that actually cost him a few yards, but interesting call by Iona to stop the clock, and they have no timeouts left. 23 seconds to go in this first half. Iona on top by 8 with the ball, and basically they're looking at probably a field goal situation here, Gary, if they are going to try to get anything, or just throw the ball up for grabs down near the end zone, because there's just not a whole lot of time left and they have no timeouts.
Eugene McGowan, probably Iona's fastest wide receiver, caught 10 passes last year for 263 yards. So far this afternoon, in less than half the ball game, he has caught 5 passes for 62 yards. So 5 receptions plus a great kick return for Eugene McGowan.
He has become the leader of the receiving corps thus far, obviously, and apparently Highland's favorite target.
23 seconds to go. Iona out of timeouts now, but they do have the ball on the St. John's 47-yard line. And Highland awaiting at midfield in the shotgun. 1st down 10. Back to his own 45. Scrambles to the right. Down the middle he goes. It's complete. Pogajinski. 1st down Iona. They will stop the clock momentarily. Again, the Gales have no timeouts. 16 seconds to go while they move the chains, and the Gales very quickly calling an audible at the line of scrimmage. The clock has not started yet. Now it goes. 15 seconds to go, and Iona will stop it by getting an illegal procedure penalty.
Well, they stop it with 12 seconds. I guess that's one way to stop it. It's against Iona, no question. Highland backed out of there before the ball was snapped, so they'll go back 5 yards.
Well, the danger in throwing that pass down the middle of the field, no way to run out of bounds to stop the clock, but a big reception again, the 2nd of the afternoon for Pogajinski. We look at it very quickly. Well, let's go back to live action. 11 seconds to go, and Iona again mishandling the snap. And
no, he spiked the ball down to stop the clock.
Downing the ball to stop the clock. So it'll be 3rd down for Iona, or 2nd down for the Gales. 2nd and 15. 9 seconds to go in the half.
Well, they're at the 27-yard line. It would be a very long field goal. They got a couple options here to throw a sideline pattern, try to get the ball and get out of bounds, get a little more yardage, and let Cowper try to kick one. Or, of course, they can throw the ball up for grabs down in the end zone. They're close enough to try that play.
Yeah, they'll probably do that, take one shot at the end zone, and if they don't make it, it would be a 45-yarder for Jimmy Cowper. Highland, this is Sharavelli. He's also a backup quarterback looking to throw the ball. Going for Highland, and Highland almost came up with a circus catch on the 5-yard line. 1 second remaining. How would that have been for a play?
Hillfeather tipped it away at the last minute. What was not seen was that the receiver for the Iona Gales on the right side, that was Thomas Moan, was wide open. And now, as you're right, Cowper will attempt it from 45 yards out.
Well, Sharavelli, number 6, with the halfback throw, almost took too much time. He used up 8 seconds, leaving Iona with only 1, but that's enough for a 45-yard field goal attempt by Cowper. It is up, and good! What a half for the Gales of Iona, and topped off with a 45-yard field goal at the gun by James Cowper, who is being mobbed by his teammates.
Well, he had enough distance on it, actually had a few yards to spare right down the middle, and that's a good momentum builder as the clubs head off to the locker room for the intermission. Iona up by 11.
Well, Chuck, your comments on this first half. I thought the Gales, despite those 2 weird touchdowns by St. John's, but Iona, you have to hand it to them. They played as well as they could possibly play, and they do have a relatively, and we say relatively in this game, comfortable 11-point lead going into the locker room at halftime.
Well, the key point of that first half was after the St. John's Redmen scored their second touchdown, when Iona had held them without a first down and were only up by 1 point. The thing you like about it was that the Gales were able to rebound from that tough situation and put 10 more points on the board to give themselves that comfortable lead going into the locker room. Domination both sides of the football, offensively and defensively, for the Gales, and of course if they stop St. John's in the second half like they did in the first half, they shouldn't have many problems today. But we know what happened last year in the second half when Iona had dominated the first half of a ball game as well. So anything can happen as we have another 30 minutes of football to play.
All right, you know the second half is going to be entertaining. So again, the score at halftime, and we'll be back with the opening kickoff of the second half in just a moment. It is Iona 24 and the St. John's Redmen 13 at the intermission from Mozilla Field in New Rochelle. There you see our score. Third quarter about to get underway. Gary Stanley and Chuck Strom. And Chuck, so far so good for the Gales of Iona College. Total domination, an 8-point lead, but the individual statistics and team stats even more telling of how this game is going on.
And we'll get to discuss those in a little bit, but just a quick rundown of the scoring. Gales scoring first on a 15-yard pass from Highland to Silo, made it 7-0. Bruno, a 45-yard interception return for St. John's. That made the score 7-7. Baluzzi, a 1-yard run, put Iona up 14-7. Iadavio, a 54-yard punt return. The point after failed, so it was 14-13. Then the Gales got a 2-yard run out of Highland and a 45-yard field goal out of Cowper in the second quarter, and that made the score 21-13. Taking a look at the team stats, 19 first downs for Iona, 3 for St. John's. Total domination, 76-14 on the rush, 180-13 on the passing. That made it 256-27. And of course, more St. John's turnovers than Iona, and the Gales also dominating time of possession. So a very successful first half for Iona.
James Cowper will kick off, and Capuana on the return for St. John's. And the Redmen get the ball across the 30-yard line to the 31-yard line. So I think, Chuck, psychologically, a very important possession for St. John's here.
And I'm curious to see if they stay with their first half quarterback, who certainly was not very successful for the St. John's Redmen. Of course, Sean Sharkey, I suspect he's going to be in the game, and he is.
Indeed he is. Number 18, the young man we thought would start the game this afternoon. Sharkey was a 50% passer last year, 7 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and saw the majority of play for Coach Bob Bricka, but now only getting to start the second half.
Well, it's an interesting move as he puts the first ball up and completes it.
And the ball knocked out of bounds to McPherson at the 38-yard line, so a 7-yard reception from Sharkey to Tom McPherson.
As we mentioned that Iona dominated that first half, especially their defense, holding St. John's to just the 3 first downs. They all came in one series, so for the most part they did nothing in the first half, and subsequently they've changed quarterback. Sharkey, a taller quarterback, number 18, and he led that second half comeback by St. John's last year against Iona, 2nd and 5.
From the 36-yard line, Sharkey calling signals, keeps it on the ground. Anthony Russo, big hole at midfield. Will he go? The 40, the 30. Anthony Russo, the number 1 running back in the Liberty Conference, just showed why, and St. John's right back in the game.
Unbelievable the way they can strike. No flags on it. That is a run around right end by Anthony Russo, and that'll boost the average for the premier running back in the Liberty Conference. He was terribly, well, not terrible, but he just didn't gain much in the first half. He gained he got more on that play than St. John's got in the entire first half, Gary.
24-19 now in favor of Iona, and you knew that before the afternoon was over, Anthony Russo would be heard from. And what was that, a 64-yard run for Anthony Russo, and he was held down in that first half. But certainly Anthony Russo. Now they're going for the 2-point conversion, looking to make it 24-21. Sharkey calling signals, fakes to Russo, rolling out to the right in the end zone. He's got it. The two-point conversion. Nick Palmieri, the tight end, coming up with the two-point play, and it's a three-point football game again, 24-21. I said psychologically, Chuck, an important possession for St. John's. Well, it sure turned out that way, didn't it?
Well, it took them all of 24 seconds to score 8 points in the first possession of this third quarter. Russo in the first half of the football game had 19 yards on 4 carries. Right now he is up to he's up to 6 carries for 83 yards. Quite a turnaround for Russo, and that's something the Gales are going to have to be very careful about as this second half unfolds. 24-21.
Well, we're going to try to rack up that replay of
see if we can get the run, as you're talking about, the 64-yard run for Russo. Beautiful play. And, you know, Gary, he has surprising speed. You talked about it earlier. Once he got out past the defensive line and into the secondary, there was no one going to catch Russo, and he ran all the way into the end zone.
John Ledwith, number 44, will kick off. Crowd a little bit stunned here. They were beginning to feel a bit comfortable and enjoy Iona's 11-point lead. But right off the bat, the second play from scrimmage, the 64-yard run for Anthony Russo.
Well, half of them aren't even back in their seats, and St. John's has scored 8 points.
There's a kick by Ledwith, high and deep. McGowan at the goal line, the 10, the 15, and that's about it.
Great coverage on the St. John specialty teams. Raymond Capuano, number 47, made the initial hit.
All right, we're going to watch that replay of the run by Anthony Russo. 1,600 yards on the ground last year. Fooled our cameraman for a moment, as well as the Gale offensive line, and scampering down that right sideline and pointing back. Anthony's a cocky young man.
You see the speed, though, there, Gary. Once he broke into the secondary, he was not going to be caught. This is a big possession here for Iona. They've got to try to regain the momentum of this football game, get a couple of first downs, and give their defense a chance to recover from that sudden St. John's score.
Deep in their own territory, Iona will take over at the 16, and it may be too much time once again. The officials blow their whistle.
I think there might be a penalty against St. John's on this.
No, the Redmen took time out. They might not have had enough men on the field.
Yep, there was a timeout.
So St. John's having to burn an early timeout here in the second half. As you see, part of the big crowd here at Mazzella Field. It's a very small town football atmosphere, not your big stadiums. There's no admission charge to Mazzella Field, and folks really sun-drenched, enjoying the afternoon, getting late tan here in the month of September, and enjoying a wild and wacky football game. There you see the press box, the portable trailer. Let's wave out the window. There I am. That's our viewpoint. Not the best viewpoint to watch a football game either. And we have to ask the gentleman in front to sit down, please.
Get out of the way, will you? Come on. 69-yard drive by St. John's in 2 plays, by the way. Of course, the 64-yard run, the big one.
All the difference, I think, was putting Sharkey in at quarterback. The way he handed off the ball to Anthony Russo.
Well, he certainly fooled the cameraman on the instant replay.
William Santello was probably wondering why Russo couldn't do that for him when he handed the ball off in the first half.
Yeah, he might say to himself, I'd still be in there if he could do that for me.
All right, Iona to work from their own 16-yard line. Beluzzi, the sweep to the right, gets across the 20 to the 23-yard line, and that's a gain of 7 for Aldo Beluzzi. Both he and McMahon have done fairly well themselves running the ball this afternoon for Iona.
Yep, McMahon has 10 carries for 47 yards and Beluzzi 8 for 44, so Iona doing a good job on the ground with their 2 small running backs.
Good gain of 7 yards for Aldo Beluzzi, his first game with the Iona Gales. A transfer from Pace, 2nd down and 3, staying on the ground, and that time Beluzzi might have slipped down behind the line. No gain, perhaps even lost a yard. Yeah. It'll be 3rd down now for the Gales.
Another big play for Iona. They'll probably take it to the air here. St. John's defense getting a little momentum and confidence up now. It's 3rd down and call it a long 3.5 yards to go. Ball is placed on the 23.5. They've got
got to get out to the 27-yard line, just shy of the 27.
And if you're just tuning in, again, the Iona Gales trying to break an amazing, and we say amazing because of the weird losses through the years, 11-game losing streak against the St. John's Redmen, and this afternoon a very weird game as well. Pitch out to Beluzzi. Will he get the first down? Knocked out of bounds at about the 25, and he's going to be very, very close to that first down.
He's not going to get it, though, unless they spot the ball generously, because they had to get to about the 26.5. So look for Eric Menacall to come in the football game, and Iona will be giving it up. No, they're going to... Maybe I'm wrong.
Billy Highland seems to think you're wrong.
I don't see how. No.
It is good for the first down. He got it. They marked the ball just outside the 26-yard line.
Yep.
And again, this series began from the 16. So it is a first down for Iona.
3 running plays for the Gales. I didn't think he had a chance of getting it, but as you mentioned, we're on a tough angle here, and everybody, of course, is standing up in front of us. So,
well, we expect a pass. Thomas Moan wide to the left. McGowan, who has been their top receiver, wide to the right. 5 catches in that first half. First down 10 for Highland. Fakes the handoff, rolling out to the left. Being rushed, scrambles back to the right, wide open, and diving and making the catch is Beluzzi at the 30-yard line. Aldo Beluzzi just barely got the ball before it hit the ground, and it's good for a 4-yard gain.
Yeah, that was a big play for Highland because it was obviously not his primary receiver. He had to scramble once again, was able to get the ball off and turn a gain out of what could have been a loss. So it'll be 2nd and 6 for Iona.
Important thing for the Gales is to establish a passing game with their running backs. Of course, that was such a great strength of Byron Womack, who has since graduated, the all-time leading point scorer in Iona football history. At the 30-yard line, 2nd down and 6 for Iona as St. John's jumping offside. Now were they pulled offside by Iona?
I believe they were. We'll wait and see. Contact was made.
The Gales are walking back towards their huddle immediately. They probably think it's against them.
I'm sure that it is. Play stopped immediately and dead. It is going to be a legal procedure against Iona. So 1st and 15. I should say 2nd and 11 now for Iona.
So the penalty, the 5-yarder, brings the ball back to the 25-yard line. 12:25 to go, 3rd quarter. St. John's has scored early in this quarter. A 64-yard run by Anthony Russo to cut Iona's lead to only 3. They got the 2-point conversion. 24-21. From the 25, here's the option play, flip out Beluzzi. Beluzzi at the 30 and gets to the 31-yard line. That's a gain of 6, but it's going to be 3rd down and long as Scott Biter making the tackle.
Got a Redman down on the field hurt. Looks to be number 79 for St. John's. That would be Raymond Lambright.
And a key performer indeed, the junior defensive end, 7 sacks last year. Led the Redmen, and let's see what's wrong with Mr. Lambright. It'll be 3rd down for the Gales, 3rd down and about 7. As we have our 2nd injured player of the afternoon, Al Bruno, walked off his pain earlier in the game, and now Lambright being attended to by the St. John's training staff.
And it looks like a leg injury. The left leg is what they're working on down here to our left.
Even though Iona had a better record than St. John's did a year ago, 7-2-1 as opposed to 6-4, the Redmen played better in Liberty Conference play, and they won the championship with a 4-1 mark. And Iona was 3 wins, 1 loss. That loss to St. John's, and 1 tie against the Merchant Marine Academy. This injury appears to be to the left leg or left ankle of John Lambright. So we'll take an injury timeout ourselves and be back with more 3rd quarter action in just a moment. 24-21 in favor of Iona. And we are back 24-21. Iona in a nail-biter early 3rd quarter, leading St. John's by 3 points from Mazzella Field in New Rochelle. This is the 4th year of Mazzella Field, the AstroTurf facility right outside the John Mulcahy Campus Center, where the Gales play their basketball games and volleyball and one of all their many intramural sports and intercollegiate sports.
This looks like a somewhat serious injury to Lambright. He's still down, and probably a leg injury, and they're figuring out how to get him off the football field right now and off to somewhere where they can treat him. Not what you like to see. And for the complete line of Russell Athletic Sportswear, it's Dan's Sports Center on Cedar Street in Dobbs Ferry. Dan's Sports features the finest equipment at the lowest prices, attentive personal service, and teams and organizations are especially catered to. So for all good sports, it's Dan's on Cedar Street in Dobbs Ferry. Give them a call at 693-1754. That's 693-1754. Dan's Sports Center in Dobbs Ferry.
Don't give them a call this afternoon. They're all here at Iona. Not there, but somewhere close to there with their sales location. Hank Margata and Dan.
And he's going to go off on a chair, stretcher type chair, it looks like. They'll sit him down and carry him off right now. So that, of course, is something you don't like to see at any level.
6'2" junior, Ray Lambright.
Take off his shoulder pads, I suppose.
And the stretcher, obviously not good news.
And while we've got a moment, we'd like to tell you that the portion of this game is being sponsored by the Beachmont Tavern, the #1 hangout for Iona Gale fans. The Beachmont Tavern, featuring the best buffalo wings in town, a great Sunday brunch, and Monday night football parties. The Beachmont Tavern, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week at 750 North Avenue in New Rochelle, right across the street from the Iona College campus.
Ray Lambright now in a sitting position, getting a hand from the crowd and from both ball clubs.
Yeah, he's got...
Remember, Brett Barrow, the great defensive tackle for the Gales, had his season ended in only the 3rd week last year at Sacred Harp when he broke his leg. That seems to be more of a chair, Chuck, than it does to be a stretcher.
A chair?
It is a chair.
Carry him off, yeah. Have fun. He's a heavy young man to be carrying off. I guess they can wheel it like that or drag him off.
That's the one thing you fear about football, a rough game, and people do get hurt.
Yep. That was away from the play, too. That's the hard to figure out thing. Lambright was way far away from the play.
When play is resumed, Iona will have a 3rd down and 7 situation. Deep in their own territory, 24-21. So that about a 6-7 minute delay as Ray Lambright obviously taking no chances with the junior now finally being taken to the sidelines and play back in. 12 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. And another important play for the Gales. Tim Silo wide to the right side. Billy Highland, no shotgun. He's under the center. Derek Clark calling signals from the 31-yard line. Highland back to pass, straight back, throws. He's got his man Moan, and he's going to be very close to the 1st down. He'd make that dive at the last moment, trying to get to the yardstick. And let's see where they mark the football.
He's a bit short, I believe. Depending on the mark, of course. He tried to stretch out with the ball at the end, but from where they're placing it, it appears that he is going to be a little bit short, and Menacall will come in for Iona.
Obviously, if the Gales have a 4th down, you're not going to take any chances here at this point in the football game, and they're going to bring the chains out to find out.
Well, the Iona punting unit is already on the football field. Yeah, they're going to kick the ball away. It is 4th down and less than a yard for Iona, but they will turn the ball back over to St. John's. 11:40 to go in this 3rd quarter. A 3-point Iona lead.
So the Redmen have to feel good about themselves, getting the touchdown run from Anthony Russo and then stopping Iona on their first offensive drive of the 3rd quarter. And St. John's will get the football back as Eric Menacall will punt from his own 23-yard line. Awaiting the snap. Iadivio, who's already returned one for a TD deep for St. John's. Iadivio lets it bounce, and it takes an Iona roll and will come to a stop just outside the 20-yard line. So Iadivio not wanting to touch that one.
That was danger written all over it. It was a high kick, good kick by Menacall. Iona covered it well, and he just said let it bounce, and we'll take our chances with the field position. I think they're going to have it right outside the 20 at about the 22-yard line.
So a 33-yard punt by Eric Menacall. 11 minutes, 20 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. A quarter which was delayed for quite a few minutes by the injury to Ray Lambright. Now St. John's back to work. Last time they scored on their 2nd offensive play, the big run by Anthony Russo. And again, Sean Sharkey at quarterback for St. John's. Number 18, the junior. Sharkey takes the snap. Here's the hand to Russo, left tackle, and Iona able to shut him down after a gain of 1 on the play.
Menicall averaging 38.9 yards on his 3 punts today, so he's done a fine job for Iona. As we talked about over the last couple of years, Gary, one of the strong parts of the Iona football team has been their special teams with their field goal kicking and extra points. Of course, they had Tommy Bergen last year along with Cowper, but Cowper more than adequate to handle the job, and Eric Menicall has been a fine punter for Iona over the years, and of course they've always been strong on punt and kickoff returns, and McGowan showing he can do the job in Byron Womack's stead this year.
2nd down and 10 from the 22. Jason Villar in the ball game at wide receiver. He split to the right. McPherson to the left as Sharkey will keep it on the ground. Anthony Russo sweeping to the right side, and he is knocked out of bounds at the 30-yard line, or just shy of the 30-yard line. It'll be short of the first down. And 3rd and about 5 upcoming for the Redmen.
Got around the corner that time, but good pursuit by the Iona linebackers to force Russo out of bounds, and it's 3rd down as the clock continues to run as we approach 10 minutes to go in this, the 3rd quarter.
Iona's defensive front line, Vinny Santalia, Brett Barrow, Andrew Cox, and Raymond Perez. Linebackers Dan Rocco, Eugene McCarthy, Mike Corcoran, and Mike Morgan. Al Mellon, one of the defensive backs, he's got 2 interceptions this afternoon. And a big 3rd down and 4 now for the Redmen from the 28-yard line. An audible call by Sharkey. Back to pass, he throws to the right, and it's over the head of Iadivio, incomplete. Good coverage by Michael Morgan down there for the Gales, and it's going to be a punting situation now for St. John's.
They have good defensive stand by Iona. They needed that to stop the Redmen. Well overthrown by Sharkey on that attempt, and now McGowan drops back for Iona. 9:42 to go in the 3rd. Things have settled down a bit since that Russo rumble for 64 yards.
Number 11, Joe Parker, will punt for the Redmen, and deep is Eugene McGowan, who's had a very, very fine afternoon. Here's the punt, high and deep, a beauty, and sending McGowan back to the 27-yard line, across the 30, trying to find some daylight. He's being tugged down and able to get away for the moment to the 35-yard line.
Good coverage there by Mike Frazetta. He is the specialty teams player that had a hold of McGowan's jersey, and what he was able to do was contain Eugene until the rest of his teammates came down and put the finishing touches on the tackle. But good field position nonetheless for Iona, Gary. They have it at the 36, 1st down and 10.
So the Iona Gales, showing none of the life so far, which characterized their play in the first half, will take over from their own 36-yard line. 24-21, a close one for Mazzella Field as Bill Highland going to work out of the shotgun. Highland, the senior quarterback. The Gale offense revolves around Billy Highland out of the run and shoot. Retreats to the 25 over the middle, and a great leaping catch made by Eugene McGowan once again at midfield. 1st down, Iona.
Great looking catch by McGowan. That ball was overthrown. He was able to leap up and make the reception for a 13-yard gain and another 1st down for Iona. Good looking play for the Gales.
6 catches now for McGowan. That one good for 13 yards to the Iona 49-yard line.
He has been the offensive star along with Highland of this football game for Iona.
Tim Silo, number 14, split wide to the right. Highland back to work, fakes the draw play, throws over the middle, and that one overthrown down at the 32-yard line, intended for Thomas Moan, number 85.
And he was open on the play. Billy just overthrew him, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
Had him wide open. Thomas Moan trying to dive for the football, but unable to come up with it. 2nd down and 10 now for Iona. 9:03 to go, 3rd quarter. Joe Sparrow now in the game at wide receiver to the right. Urizzo wide to the left. The Gales have about 8 wide receivers. They like to run in and out of there on that run and shoot offense. Here's Highland with time, goes over the middle again, and he's got the 1st down to the 31-yard line. So Billy Highland overthrowing Moan a moment ago, finds Dan Green for the reception, and Iona back to work in St. John's territory.
And another Redmen hurt on the play. We'll check out and see exactly who that is going to be for St. John's.
Well behind the line of scrimmage, and there you see the replay. Dan Green making the catch and in traffic, going down and getting that important 1st down to the 32-yard line.
The Redmen Defense is getting porous a little bit here. Another man hurt on the play. That, of course, is Matthew Franco. He is a sophomore linebacker.
That's well behind the line of scrimmage, so Iona's linemen on this warm afternoon taking advantage of the break to kind of cool themselves off.
Well, Franco will be okay, certainly a lot less serious. He's walking off under his own 2 feet here, and he's certainly going to be back in the ball game from the looks of it.
We'll try to get a report on Ray Lambright, again, who was taken off the field, rolled off the field, in fact, on a stretcher just a couple of minutes back. A leg injury seemingly to his left leg or ankle. And, of course, St. John's is hard-pressed to replace him on that front line at defensive end.
He's a big part of their defense.
First down 10 for the Gales, leading by 3. Highland out of the shotgun from the Redmen 32-yard line. It's a draw play. McMahon to the 31, and then knocked back about 5 or 6 yards. Number 15 with perhaps a gain of 1 on the play, James McMahon.
You get the feeling that the Redmen have sort of gotten ready for that little draw play. It worked very well in the beginning of the football game. Hasn't gotten much lately, though, as St. John's defense has stopped it the last 3 or 4 times the Gales have tried it.
Well, they marked the football on the 31, so a gain of 1 on the play. James McMahon not fooling the St. John's middle of that line. Al Bruno made the initial stop. Man in motion is Dan Green. 2nd down and 9 is Highland operating out of the shotgun. Passing situation for the Gales from the end zone camera. Highland in trouble, scrambles around to the 40, throws low, incomplete. Intended for Jack Urizzo, and again, good defensive coverage. Tom Kilfeather has played a strong game, number 35 for the Redmen. He broke up that pass to Jack Urizzo.
And Michael Russo in there, too, almost had the deflection for the interception there as he jumped over Urizzo, but it did fall to the turf. And now it's going to be 2nd and 9, actually 3rd and 9 for Iona.
And the Gales not quite in field goal range. James Cowper did can a 45-yarder at the gun to end the first half. In fact, that's the difference in the ball game right now, as Billy Highland takes a timeout as he did not like the defensive alignment for St. John's, and he wants to talk it over. So 3rd down and 9 as the Gales have used a timeout. There's Tim Keppel, one of the Gales' assistant football coaches. It's a very important game for Iona. There you see more of the coaching staff and the head guy, the head honcho, who really would like to finally get the monkey off his back, never having beaten Bob Ricca and St. John's, and obviously today is not going to be easy either, with the score 24-21 after Iona totally dominated that first half, the 3rd quarter, and St. John's has scored. The 3rd quarter has obviously been a lot more even.
Well, no matter what, the coaches told us all the right things during the week and before the game, and nobody's thinking about this as an 11-game losing streak and all the other stuff that's going on. But deep down, Coach Crocker is dying to get a win over St. John's, and he really wants it here today.
Billy Highland, another good afternoon for him so far, with still a quarter and a half to go. 17 for 32. 1 touchdown, 219 yards. Meanwhile, the Redmen quarterback have not been as effective. Obviously, 1 for 9 for 13 yards. Now a 3rd and 9 play. Highland wants to air it out. Scrambles to the right, down the right sideline, and it's complete for the first down. Down that right sideline, I think Tim Silo.
Yeah.
And again, Highland connecting on 3rd and long. Another huge play for the Gales senior co-captain.
That's what Highland can do for you. He can scramble, buy time, and give his receivers a chance to break their patterns and get open. Silo just came back to the quarterback. That's what you're to do as a receiver on that play. When he starts scrambling, you break your pattern and come back to him. Silo did it. Here you see it. He comes back, and boy, that ball was just zipped in there beautifully by Highland. Silo was certainly not wide open on the play.
The ball on the 11-yard line. The Gales can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. First down and 10, 7:20 to go, 3rd quarter. Iona by 3, looking to add to their lead. Here's the draw play to James McMahon, and he is treated rather roughly, I would say. Scott Kantrowitz, number 30, making that head-on tackle.
Yeah, and he said, for emphasis, he threw McMahon to the turf. We talked about the size. McMahon and Belusi, both small guys for running backs. Jimmy McMahon, a 5'7", 175-pound player, and he got no gain on that one, so it's 2nd and 10 from the 11.
Billy Highland to the line. Again, Derek Clark, the new center for Iona, replacing Tom Killian. Great mainstay for many years. Highland will run at the 10, at the 5, and he is knocked down at the 5-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 4. Highland already has scored a touchdown this afternoon, and that time he had dreams of getting in the end zone again, but stopped at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, he didn't have a chance to really score because it was good pursuit by St. John's. Billy rolling out on the left side now. Another big play for Iona. It's going to be 3rd down. They need 4 for a first down and 5 for a touchdown. They have to get to the 1 for a first down, despite the fact that the scoreboard said 3rd and 44 to go.
If they don't make it and it's 4th and a couple, that'll be very interesting to see what Coach Crocker does.
It'll be a momentum-building play if they have to go for it on 4th down one way or the other.
3rd and 4 at the 5. Highland rolling, being chased, running away, being chased, in trouble, still on his feet, throws in the end zone, touchdown! James McMahon.
Unbelievable.
What a run by Billy Highland, getting himself open, and James McMahon, the running back, wide open, praying that Highland would find him, and indeed he did. The Gales now lead 30-21.
Boy, I really, you had to think there were 2 or 3 times there that Highland was going to go down. The pressure was on him, but he is so good at scrambling, buying time, allowing McMahon, his running back, to get open in the back of the end zone. He zipped it in for the touchdown, and again, Iona reaches somewhat of a comfort level.
Not yet. What a game this has been. Iona by 9. They're going for the 1-point conversion. Cowper, as Pogajinski will hold. The ball placed down, kicked, it is up, it is no good. Well, let's see how that affects the ball game. The lead at 9, Chuck. That's 30-21. So Cowper, after making 3 extra points, misses on the 4th attempt. And wide open, wild ball game.
He's limping off the field, Cowper, too, so we'll have to keep our eye on him.
So 30-21, that 5-yard touchdown pass to James McMahon. We say it's a 5-yard pass, but Highland ran around for about 25 yards, finally getting free and finding McMahon in the end zone.
Yeah, Billy was probably back at about the 15-yard line when he threw the football.
So James Cowper, let's see if he's okay to kick off.
He's not. Fenton. Here's the touchdown. Now here you'll see Billy Highland. Watch the scramble here. He rolls out to the right after getting the pursuit from the left, and you'll see him move over. There's one other point in this play when it looks like they're about to sack him right here, but the spin move works to perfection. He gets away from the defender and now looks downfield, and from about the 15-yard line, and you see him right there at the 15. He's going to throw the football across his body. Beautiful camera work on this play, right into the arms of James McMahon, and there you see him in the back of the end zone with about 3 yards to spare for the Iona touchdown.
That is vintage Billy Highland, and James McMahon scoring the touchdown, 30-21. Here's Fenton, a young man from England, kicking off with the left foot. Broadway to field. Charles Broadway is brought down. A good open field tackle on the special teams by the Iona Gales.
Yeah, good-looking play for Iona. Number 42 for the Gales, bringing down that Stephen DiMartino who made the play. Good-looking special teams play for Iona.
So the Redmen going back to work. They had cut the lead down to 3, but now it is back to 9. Still 5:44 to go, third quarter.
Trying to find Jimmy Cowper on the sidelines, and they're working on the right leg. Certainly something you don't want to see if you're an Iona fan.
From the 26-yard line, Sean Sharkey remains at quarterback. William Santella started, played the first half, and Sharkey has come in here in the third quarter. He's to throw, and wide open is Iadivio for the first down.
Yeah, he's right out near the marker. Good-looking play, good pass from Sharkey. And that's only the second completion of the day for the St. John's quarterbacks.
And let's see where they mark it. A quick opener to Anthony Iadivio as Sharkey right back to pass. Two-step drop. Iadivio making the reception and the tackle. Gain of 12, so it's a first down for the Redmen.
Russo in the backfield along with Osterman.
Long count by Sharkey. Team now finally set. First down 10. Sharkey on the ground. Here's the meal ticket. Anthony Russo at the 40 trying to sweep wide, and the Gales able to cut him down and knock him out of bounds at the 43-yard line.
Yeah.
But that's a pickup of 5, and you almost feel relieved in a way when Russo tries to turn that corner if you can stop him after 5 yards.
That's the key, because if he gets into the open field, forget it. We saw what he can do on his second run of this second half when he ran 64 yards. The speed is very prevalent.
There you see a bit of the scoreboard in the back. 2nd down and 4 from the 38, or from the 44-yard line, rather. Third quarter. 5 minutes, 16 seconds to go. 30-21. Iona with a 9-point lead, but the Redmen trying to fight back. On 2nd down, Sharkey. Again, taking their time at the line. He's back to throw. He's going deep for Iadivio. And does he have it, or Mellon has it? Albert Mellon went for the interception, but they're going to rule it a completion to Anthony Iadivio as the ball up for grabs, but the St. John's wide receiver able to hang on.
Well, when they both get it like that, they give the ball to the offense. They were fighting for it. Mellon was going for his 3rd interception of the afternoon. Good play by Iadivio, being able to come down with that football, and St. John's on the move. Let's take a look at it.
24-yard reception to Iadivio.
You're probably not going to be able to tell from this who caught the football, but here it is. You see them both go for it, and I guess, well, they ruled that it's St. John's football.
Well, the official broke it up. Those guys would have been battling for the ball all afternoon long. Big first down for St. John's at the Gale 33-yard line. What a game we have this afternoon. They give to Russo, and Russo caught behind the line and lost a couple. Mike Cochran making the tackle.
Yeah, good pursuit, good penetration by the Iona linebackers on that play, led by Cochran, as it is 2nd and 11 now for St. John's.
Well, Sharkey tried that deception handoff, tried to fake that he had the ball instead of Russo, but Anthony Russo was left there with Mike Cochran right in his face. No gain, they call it. 2nd down and 10 for the Redmen, going from right to left in this third quarter. Sharkey to throw again at the 40. Now steps up in the pocket. Interception by Iona. And the Gales get it back with their 3rd pickoff of the afternoon. This one by Eugene McCarthy.
Well, it looks like he threw the ball right to McCarthy. No receiver on the play for Sharkey, and he was able to hold on, and another turnover against the Redmen, and a big one at that.
So 2 by Al Mellon, and now the junior co-captain, or senior co-captain rather, Eugene McCarthy making an interception.
3rd turnover of the afternoon for the Redmen. The Gales with 1 on that interception. All the turnovers today as the result of interceptions. 3 for Iona and 1 for the Redmen of St. John's.
Had a very easy one for Eugene McCarthy. That ball right to him. So the Gales now back in control, leading by 9. They've got the football on the 33-yard line. And Highland back to throw on 1st down, wasting no time. Over the middle, deflected and intercepted the other way. Intercepted by Michael Russo at midfield to the Iona 48-yard line, and the Gales taketh away and giveth right back.
Well, that one was deflected, and you could see it coming as soon as the ball was tipped up into the air. That's a 1st down for St. John's on the turnover, as the Gales unable to take advantage of their interception by McCarthy.
It was Michael Bernardini, rather, with the interception. Deflected ball, and the interception by number 28, Bernardini, and St. John's back in business at the 48-yard line.
Again, good field position for the Redmen.
Sharkey, let's see if he goes right to the air. Teams like to do that after a turnover. Iona did it, and they paid for it. Long count, bit of confusion on the line. Maybe taking too much time, but Sharkey gets the play off. It's going to be a sweep to Russo. He can't turn the corner. He is brought down for a loss of 1 on the play. Good pursuit by Michael Morgan.
Well, it's a good thing Morgan got him, because if he did turn the corner, there was a lot of daylight for Anthony Russo. But the Gales again stopped him from turning that corner, and it's 2nd down and 11 for St. John's.
St. John's Redmen playing a lot better football in this third quarter. They have scored a touchdown, and the yardage now
getting closer.
Well, helped out mainly by that 64-yard run earlier in the quarter by Anthony Russo. They're up to 137 total yards. 2nd down and 11. Just inside St. John's territory as Sharkey airing it out, lofting down the sideline. We should have a pass interference call. No flag.
No.
Incomplete.
No
and
call.
I think the Gales may have gotten away with one there.
Well, it might have been. I think their feet got tangled up on that play. And that's the reason that there was no flag called. It's going to be 3rd down now and 11 for St. John's.
Stephen Sullivan, the defensive back, getting tied up with Jason Villar. And luckily, from Iona's point of view, no pass interference call. So now 3rd down and 11 from the 48-yard line.
Big play here for the Redmen.
Sharkey rolling out to the left. Santalia chasing. Sharkey will run. He's got good yardage, and he's going to be very close to the 1st down inside the Gale 40-yard line. Let's see where they mark the football.
Well, he's going to be a little bit shy, I believe, about a half a yard. And if that's the case, it's 4th down, a big decision for Bob Ricca.
I would, if I were Bob Ricca, go with it. Go for it on 4th down, as Sharkey did a very, very good job. Did not have anybody open. Tucked the ball under, getting away from the rush of Vinny Santalia, and they're going to be close enough to measure. They'll bring out the chains.
Well, Jim Sheridan, our statistician, assures me that Sharkey got the 1st down. We'll see how good he is.
And Jim, in 3 years of doing this with us, has never been wrong. Never, ever been wrong.
Well, there's a first all the time, and in this case, he's right. 1st down. Jim Sheridan, best known for his call of the pooch punt, when the whole world didn't know what was happening in a game against Pace a couple of years ago.
Hey, with this ball game this afternoon and the strange plays, it would almost be fitting. We were talking about the pooch punt by Eric Menacall in a game we televised a couple of years back at Pace, when the punt went straight up in the air, froze everybody on both sides with the exception of Iona tight end Tom Kelleher, who caught the ball, which is legal, and scampered the rest of the way for a touchdown. 1st down, an important pickup for Sharkey at the Gale 38-yard line.
A play that made the TV news, by the way. Here's an option. He's going to throw.
Russo is throwing. Anthony Russo has Iadivio open, and he drops the ball at the 10-yard line.
Well,
so Anthony Russo, the guy who likes to run with the ball, can also throw the football, and he might have had Iadivio open, but he just couldn't hang on.
Yeah, it looked like it was a catchable ball. Now I see Jimmy Cowper down on his back, and they're working on his right leg, so certainly doesn't look good for Jim Cowper right now. Might be just a muscle spasm of some kind.
Of course, the Gales had another field goal kicker last year in Tommy Bergen, but it is Cowper's job alone. And certainly Fenton would be the backup, but he has never, I believe, tried a field goal attempt. 2nd down and 10 at the 45. Sharkey scrambles to the right. He's got his man, and again it's going to be very close to the 1st down. Jason Villar made that nice catch for St. John's.
Well, Sharkey certainly has done the job. You got to wonder why he didn't play in the 1st half.
The ball at the 27-yard line. St. John says they have enough for the 1st down, but again, the officials are going to measure.
I'm going to look to Jim Sheridan, and we're going to put the pressure on him now. Did he get it? Jim Sheridan says 1st down.
2 minutes and 31 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Gary Stanley being helped out here in the booth by Chuck Strome, Jim Sheridan, Joe Fox. Of course, Jim Houston and his fine crew in the truck.
Sheridan is correct again.
Uncanny. 23 1st downs for Iona.
8 for St. John's, most of them in this 2nd half, though. They have been actually the better offensive team in the 2nd half, even though Iona does have a touchdown. They have moved the ball pretty well, the Redmen.
Iona had the first 12 1st downs of this football game before St. John's was able to get one. But at the time, they had 13 points. Interception returned by Bruno, and a punt return for a touchdown by Iadivio. 1st down for the Redmen. Another important drive nearing the 2-minute mark in the 3rd quarter. They fake the handoff. Wide open Sharkey with time. Now he runs. Now he throws in the end zone. Touchdown! McPherson! And St. John's right back at Iona as McPherson takes a few bows as the Redmen have cut the lead now to 30-27. Again, a 3-point difference.
What a football game we have got going right here. That was a play made by Sean Sharkey. The rollout bought some time. Good-looking pass. He's got a good arm. Haven't seen much of it, but it was a perfect spiral for the touchdown.
You really have to wonder, Chuck, why Sharkey did not start this football game.
Maybe he wasn't feeling well or something. It's got to be
well, he's
explained.
making Iona not feel well right now as Sharkey connects with a 33-yard touchdown pass to Tom McPherson.
They're going to go for 1 this time.
They went for the two-point conversion a moment ago on the first touchdown. Now they're going to go for the kick. Parker, low snap. Villar puts it down. The kick is up, and it is blocked. So no good. Score remains Iona 30 and St. John's 27.
Boy, we got some football game here for a home opener.
So 2 touchdowns in this quarter by St. John's. One in the air, the pass to McPherson, the other the long run by Anthony Russo. The Gales got a 15-yard touchdown pass from Highland to McMahon to answer back. But Iona's 11-point lead at halftime is now down to only 3 with plenty of time left. There's the replay of that big touchdown pass by Sharkey.
Watched a good throw by Sharkey, but the key to the play is his ability to roll out here. He goes back.
Chuck, also watch how close to the line of scrimmage he gets before he finally unloaded that ball.
He was very close. You're absolutely right. The line of scrimmage on that play is up here, right about where you see the Iona player there, the block.
He's not going to throw it yet. Let's see if we can pick up the marker for the line of scrimmage.
Well, I don't see it yet, but there it is. No, he was behind it. It was clearly behind it from that angle. And look at that throw all the way across the field. And there's McPherson open in the end zone for the touchdown. Good play by McPherson.
John Ledwith will punt as we open up the next chapter of Iona St. John's football. 2 minutes on the nose to go third quarter. Iona by 3. There's the kick by Ledwith, high and deep, end over end. McGowan at the 10, 15, 20. Cuts to his right, tripped up and knocked down at the 21-yard line. Good coverage on the kick by St. John's, and Iona will take over with a 3-point margin.
Raymond Capuano, who we've called out a couple of times on special teams, tripped up McGowan. And with 1:53 to go, I think Iona really needs some sort of a drive here. Momentum has shifted, and St. John's control the third quarter.
Well, Billy Highland, a big afternoon. It must be frustrating for him.
2 key interceptions, though, for Billy.
Keeps rolling up the points.
Yeah.
You know, when you score 30 points and there's still 1:53 to go in the third quarter, you ought to be thinking about getting a rest and letting your backup quarterback finish the game.
Well, not the case here today.
Highland, pitch out to the right side. Aldo Beluzzi, not much doing as he was gang tackled. Mark Winkler, number 64, in on that stop for St. John's.
And it'll be second down and long for Iona here. 9 yards to go.
Call that a gain of a half a yard. Second down and 9. Clock continues to move. 1:30 to go in the third quarter. Tim Silo, he's caught a touchdown pass. He's wide to the right. The other TD pass by Bill Highland went to James McMahon. He's not in the game right now. Aldo Beluzzi, the running back, and Beluzzi fakes the handoff. Highland chased back inside the 15-yard line. He's in trouble, and he's down. A loss on the play, a sack for the St. John's defense. It'll be third and very long.
Yeah, long to go. Highland unable to get away that time. Gales in danger of having to punt from deep in their own territory. And Gary, you can just feel the momentum of this football game shifting to the visiting Redmen team.
Under a minute to go. A loss of 9 on the sack by St. John's, so it's going to be third down and 19. Double wide receivers to the right. Joe Esparro and Eugene McGowan. Highland from the shotgun at his 5 with time. He's got a man open almost, and it's intercepted, deflected, and picked off by the Redmen. Another interception, the third of the afternoon by St. John's. Ralph Taco with the deflected interception, and the Redmen will take over with a chance to tie or go ahead.
Well, it just seems that the interceptions have been killers over the years for Billy Highland. They have come at inopportune moments, and that one certainly was, because the Gales now have their backs to the wall. They're on the 31 of Iona, St. John's is, and they have a confident St. John's offense on the football field right now with a rejuvenated quarterback in Sean Sharkey.
Let me say for the 10th time this afternoon, what a game we have. 30-27. St. John's 31 yards away from the lead at the Gale 31. Sharkey to throw. He's going deep again down the left sideline. Touchdown! McPherson again, and the Redmen lead as they explode off their bench.
You have got to wonder why Sharkey wasn't in this football game in the first half. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
A 31-yard touchdown pass to Tom McPherson, and St. John's leading 33-30. There's a flag on the play, but I think the indication was it was after the touchdown.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
I don't think they'll wipe this one out. McPherson wide open down that left sideline.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against St. John's, probably a demonstration foul or something along those lines, so they'll probably penalize them on this extra point.
On the kickoff, rather.
I will see. I'm not real sure where they're going to penalize them because they've got to mark it off on the extra point, I would think.
Play against St. John's.
33-30, St. John's. First lead of the game for the Redmen. And then we move, that's a 5-yard penalty, so they move it back 5 yards now for this extra point attempt, which becomes a fairly important extra point attempt with the lead at 3. 4-point lead.
Sure does.
Iona
Joe Parker.
Force us, Iona rather, to score at least a touchdown or 2 field goals.
His last one was blocked. The ball placed down, kicked up. It is no good. Wide to the right. So now the Gales, who were leading by 3, trail by 3, but they can tie with a field goal. But again, remember, James Cowper, Iona's field goal kicker, is a little bit under the weather right now because of an injury.
I've been looking for him on the sideline. I don't see him, so yeah, he is down there, and he looks to be okay, so we'll see if he's going to kick. If they get into position where he can kick, of course, that's the first thing that has to happen for Iona.
This is a replay of a replay. Another touchdown from Sharkey to McPherson.
A long one.
Second in a row. That 2 combination.
Beautiful pass from Sharkey. He's playing with a lot of confidence. And he was wide open down the left sideline.
As the Gales unable, Sean Sullivan beaten by McPherson, and Tom McPherson with that big reception. We have 23 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Sharkey is 5 for 9, 103 yards. His last 2 passes have been for touchdowns, and he has certainly been a boost for St. John's.
2 receptions.
What do you think the final score of this game is going to be? 51-50?
Well, I don't know. It's got that potential the way things are going here. Unbelievable football game at Mazzella Field.
John Ledwith will kick off. We've had a few kickoffs this afternoon.
They did mark it off on the kickoff, so they'll be kicking off from their 20s. So the Gales will be getting good field position probably as a result of this.
That's the second time that St. John's has to kick from their 20-yard line because of a penalty. Here's Ledwith, strong foot, good kick. Eugene McGowan, yet another return, and he lets the ball bounce. He's got to chase the ball back to his goal line. He never touched it, so he downed it in the end zone. It'll be a touchback, so the Gales will not get good field position after all, and will take over on the 20-yard line.
Who would have ever thought that would have resulted in a touchback, but it did. Again, I think what happened in that play is McGowan lost that ball in the sun, and when it hit the ground, it just rolled for St. John's all the way. Actually, it was a fortunate Iona roll, because if that thing didn't go in the end zone, they'd have been backed up to their own goal line.
And it was a good play by McGowan, not touching that hot potato and not taking a chance of touching it and letting St. John's recover. So the Gales have to settle for a touchback. 33-30, the Redmen by 3. 23 seconds to go, third quarter. First down 10 for the Gales at the 20-yard line. Billy Highland with McMahon in the ball game at running back. Draw play McMahon. He's got a hole. 25 to the 30-yard line. First down. 11-yard gain by James McMahon. And the Gales get a first down.
That's a good-looking play by McMahon. Again, the draw play off the left side. Able to gain the first down with 15 seconds to go. We may get one more play in this third quarter if the Gales hurry.
There's the replay. That's been Iona's main bread-and-butter running play, the draw play. And this time it was McMahon. McMahon and Beluzzi have shared time this afternoon for the Gales in the backfield. Now 7 seconds to go. Iona to the line. First down and 10. Will they get the play off? They do. It's a running play. McMahon breaks a tackle at the line. Another great run by McMahon. He picks up about 7 or 8 yards on the play. And that'll be the final play of the third quarter. Gales will have second down and short when we come back. At the end of 3 quarters of play, it is St. John's now a comeback leader, 33-30 over Iona. Back with the exciting fourth quarter after this message.
You're watching TCI. everything in which we believe. Well, I tell you something. The minute that sheriff puts his foot in my doors, I'm letting go.
For the first time this afternoon, 33-30. Iona looking for the first down, and I believe they have it. The handoff to Jimmy Thompson, who has seen limited play this afternoon. That his first carry, and he's going to be very close to the first down marker.
We'll see where they mark the football. I believe he may be a tad short, but we're going to wait and see. Yeah,
Iona led by 11 points at halftime, 24-13, but the Redmen bouncing back for 3 touchdowns in that third quarter. The last 2 on long passes to Tom McPherson, and the first one a long run by Anthony Russo.
Well, my eyes obviously are not as good as Jim Sheridan's. He did get the first down on that play, and a key first down for Iona.
So the Gales, looking to break that 11-game losing streak against St. John's, now have to play catch-up football, down by 3. Now, obviously a lot of time remaining, 5 seconds into the fourth and final quarter.
Bob Ricca, he saw it the way I did. He wanted a measurement, not thinking it was a first down, and he is storming up and down that sideline. But it is going to be a first down for Iona.
Just by the nose of the football at the 41-yard line. So the Gales on this drive through the ground in the running by James McMahon and Jimmy Thompson have picked up 2 first downs. They have yet to throw the ball on this possession. That will probably be rectified right here from the 41-yard line. Highland under the center, calling signals, long count. No, they keep it on the ground. McMahon off left tackle, bowling forward for 2 or 3 yards for James McMahon.
Well, I think they might be a little leery right now. Billy Highland has had 2 interceptions in this second half, so maybe they want to play a little more ball control if possible, but you got to figure that sooner or later they're going to have to put the ball in the air. This offense is not built around the run, as anyone that follows Iona football knows. There you see our score, 33-30. St. John's leading the football game. 14 minutes to go in this, the fourth quarter.
Second down and 7 from the 44-yard line. 3 wide receivers to the left, and Highland will throw. He's got time. Over the middle, and it's picked off again by St. John's at the 30-yard line of the Redmen. The 4th interception thrown by Bill Highland this afternoon.
Now you'll watch St. John's go to the ground. They'll try to run the clock with Russo. Right here, things are going their way. Let's see if we can't get a look on that and see who picked the ball off. Highland overthrowing his receiver again, and it looks like that ball was picked off by number 28 for the St. John's.
Mark Bernardini, his 2nd interception of the afternoon.
4th turnover of the day for Iona. All interceptions against Billy Highland.
So Bernardini with 2 interceptions for St. John's. Al Mellon had 2 in the first half for Iona, but now the Redmen in control.
Last 3 passes by Billy Highland intercepted.
Jason Villar, number 12, man in motion out of the I formation. Pitch back to Russo. It's an end around, flea flicker. Villar to throw. Iadivio was wide open, and he dropped the football at the 35-yard line. Well, that play worked. The great play by St. John's, but Iadivio could not catch the football, and I thought he should have, Chuck. He had his man Mellon beaten.
It was a tough catch, but a makeable catch by Iadivio, especially an experienced player like him. What a tricky play that was for Bob Ricca. It was the end-around pass. Didn't really fool the Iona defenders, though. They were back there.
Russo handing to Villar, who again is a quarterback as well as a wide receiver, and Villar's pass right on the money. 2nd down and 10 from the 31-yard line. Again, working out of the I formation. This time they hand to Russo. He'll run it, and Russo able to get to the 35-yard line for a gain of 4. 3rd down and 6 now for St. John's. Clock moving. 13.5 minutes to go in the football game.
And immediately a big play for the Redmen. They'd like to take some time off the clock, keep the Iona offense on the bench. They have dominated this second half, and we'll see what Sharkey can come up with here. He has been a revelation for the Redmen in this second half, and he's done quite a job. Sean Sharkey, the guy who led last year's comeback against Iona, doing the same thing here this afternoon.
Big play for the Gale defense. They have to get the crowd alive and back in it. Gales seem a little bit stunned and back on the heels right now. Here's Russo sweeping right. He's got room. He's got the first down. He's into Iona territory to the Gale 48-yard line, and Anthony Russo beginning to pour it on just a little bit.
Well, he's starting to run with a lot of confidence. Not that he ever would have lost it, but that time he turned the corner and had a lot of room. First down into Iona territory at the 49. Here it is. Russo, once he gets past that corner, you know he's going to get the yardage he needs. That was a great run by Anthony Russo.
16-yard run for Russo. The ball in Iona territory at the 49-yard line. St. John's leading 33-30. A big comeback effort at the 49-yard line. Now a pro set between Osterman and Russo in the backfield. Sharkey hands to Russo. Off left tackle, and the Gales stop him after a gain of 1 or 2. Brett Barrow, number 91. And also Raymond Perez and Mike Corcoran, who's had a good game at the bottom of that pile.
But again, as we mentioned, you're going to try to see St. John's run here. They now know that they've got 2 opponents in this football game, Iona and the Clock, their first lead of the afternoon. And as so often happens, last year the only lead St. John's had was the one at the end of the ball game.
They won that on a 42-yard field goal at the gun by John Ledwith. And again, St. John's has broken Iona's heart so many times in the past, 11 wins in a row. And right now they're leading 33-30 with the ball. Second down and 8. Anthony Russo, the great cutback. He's got another first down inside the Gale 40 to the 39-yard line. In fact, very close to that first down marker.
He's a little bit short. He's about a half a yard short. So another big play, 3rd and a half for the Redmen as the clock continues to run. 11:30 to go in the football game.
Right now the Gales have to stop St. John's, and they are a ball possession type ball club. And with the lead, they can take all the time they want. Russo, well, that's where he should be. Had a very tough first half, but now at 122 yards in the football game.
On 16 carries, so again, good average for Russo.
He averaged 168 a game last year. Big 3rd and 1 now for St. John's. Here's the handoff, and it's going to be very close. Diving off the right tackle, it's Anthony Russo once again, and it's going to be close enough for a measurement.
And it was a good play by the Iona defensive line there, but again, second effort by Russo has put him very, very close to the first down, and I believe we're going to have a measurement right here.
Well, if you don't make it, do you punt the football away, or do you take a gamble?
I think you got to punt it away. The way the Iona offense has been playing in this last 5 minutes, as I mentioned, the last 3 passes by Billy Highland have been intercepted. So they will bring out the chains.
And if it's short, it's only by a matter of an inch or 2.
See if we can't see here. He's got it. First down for St. John's.
So he made it by a matter of inches. And again, this very effective drive continues, mainly the running of Anthony Russo, as the clock will start up again at 10:58 to go in the football game.
114 yards, 104 yards in the second half for Russo. He had 19 at the half. He's up to 123.
And all of a sudden, this big crowd here at Mazzella Field, very quiet right now, very pensive, hoping the Gales can stop St. John's to get the ball back. First down and 10 at the 39-yard line. Fakes the handoff. Sharkey is trapped behind the line of scrimmage. And a big, big sack for the Gales. As coming in to make the tackle, Vinny Santalia with a big play for the Gale defense.
That was a huge one as they took him back for an 8-yard loss. Santalia right into the backfield, and that was the defensive play of the game thus far for Iona. It is now second down and a long 18 for the Redmen.
Santalia leading Iona in sacks last year with 10.
This forces St. John's to probably put the ball up in the air, which is not their strength. And in fact, you see Russo out in the flanker position, so he's not even in the backfield.
Second down and 18 now for St. John's at the Redmen at the Gale 47-yard line. Sharkey's pass is low and incomplete. Iadivio, the intended receiver, and that time a badly thrown ball by Sean Sharkey, stopping the clock at 9:52 to go, and it's going to be 3rd and 17 now for St. John's.
Well, here's another big defensive play for Iona. They can put their heels back, the defensive linemen can, and go after Sharkey. They're pretty sure he's going to pass the football. Big play for the secondary. They've got to come up big here. Only 9:50 to go in the football game.
Iadivio wide to the right side. McPherson, who has caught 2 touchdown passes to the left. Sharkey back at the 45. Rushed by Barrow. Throws over the middle. It's intercepted by Mike Corcoran.
Beautiful play by Corcoran. That ball was going to be caught by the St. John's receiver. If Corcoran did not come in and dive in there before the play, St. John's was 3 out of 8 on first third down conversions. They were stopped again there. Big play. A turnover. The 4th against St. John's, and that could be a momentum swing. What a play by Corcoran.
Number 53, the linebacker, playing in place of the injured Tom Oakes.
Here it is. Look at him dive in there at the last minute. That ball was going to be caught. The intended receiver for St. John's was Iadivio, and he was going to catch the football if Corcoran didn't dive in there.
From the 32-yard line, Iona back to work, trailing by 3. Highland on the ground, Beluzzi, and he got racked up. Aldo Beluzzi, no gain on the play.
Scott Biter with the hard hit.
And we've had a lot of hard hits this afternoon, but interesting, not one fumble. A lot of interceptions, but not a fumble yet.
8 turnovers, no fumbles. That's pretty good. Now for the complete line of Russell Athletic Sportswear, it's Dan's Sports Center on Cedar Street in Dobbs Ferry. They feature the finest equipment at the lowest prices. Attentive personal service, and teams and organizations are especially catered to. For all good sports, it's Dan's on Cedar Street in Dobbs Ferry at 693-1754.
They very generously gave a yard to Beluzzi, so it's 2nd down and 9. Highland out of the shotgun. Had time, but now runs out of time and throws it down the sideline. And intended for Eugene McGowan.
I think we might have a holding call here. Late flag. Highland wasn't hit, so it's not roughing the quarterback. It is holding against Iona.
Well, Billy Highland had all sorts of time, but nobody opened downfield, and Iona held to try to give Highland some more maneuverability, and that's going to be a costly penalty if St. John's does take it. Remember, it could be 3rd and 9.
They probably will take it because the holding call was so far deep in the Iona backfield. They mark it off from the spot 10 yards back. Looks like they're at about the 23. That would put Iona all the way back to the 13-yard line, having to get out to the 43, so that's going to make it 2nd and 30. And they did take it. I think it put them back at about the 13, 2nd and 30. They have to get to the 43-yard line.
As you see on the big scoreboard, 9 minutes to go in the football game, 33-30. St. John's has answered back in a big way after Iona led by 11 points at halftime.
They're calling it 27 to go for Iona, 2nd and 27.
From Iona 15.
Highland will keep it on the ground. Can't take a chance. Beluzzi on the draw play gets some of that yardage back, but the majority, the big chunk of the yardage is still there on 3rd down.
That'll be another big 3rd down play. The problem with this here, Gary, is that if Iona does not convert, they're going to be punting from deep in their own territory, and that will give St. John's good field position.
So let's see what they call it. 3rd down.
About 25 to go, I believe.
3rd and 25. Clock moving. 8.5 minutes to go. Scoreboard says 3rd and 15. That is wrong. 3rd and 25 is what it should be.
Now they have the ball at the 27, and it's not. It's at the 17.
Highland out of the shotgun. Huge play needed. Highland setting up, throwing deep down the middle, and wide open for the 1st down is Eugene McGowan. Another huge 3rd and long play. Correction, that is Steve Pogajinski, the freshman, 88, with his 3rd big catch of the afternoon. None bigger than that one.
That is the 3rd and long that Iona has converted in this football game. That, of course, as you mentioned, the biggest one of the afternoon, keeps the drive alive, takes them all the way out to the 46-yard line. Take another look at it here, Gary. You'll see Highland take his time in the backfield, and he finds the receiver wide open again, and it was that second effort that got the 1st down after he caught the football.
So Steve Pogajinski making an immediate impact on the Gales. They get a new life at the 46, 1st and 10. Highland scrambling around, finding his man open. This is McGowan. It's a 1st down near the St. John's 41-yard line. Number 84, McGowan. And here comes Iona. 7:45 to go in the game.
How quickly it can change. You're looking at 3rd and 25, and a dreadful situation for Iona. 2 plays, and they've moved it all the way down the field. Here it is, Highland again buying extra time, and there's McGowan, his favorite spot right over the middle. 1st down, Iona.
Lehigh, 14-13.
At the 41-yard line, Iona. 2 big 1st downs in a row. Highland, the quarterback, split way back is Aldo Beluzzi, the running back. They hand it to Beluzzi. Beluzzi gets some space at the line, breaking one tackle, diving forward for a couple more to the 38-yard line. And that turned out to be a pretty nice run of 3-4 yards when it looked like Beluzzi was going to be trapped behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, you got to figure the Gales want 6 here. They certainly don't want to tie, although they take it. But their field goal kicker is also questionable, so that's another key as we get down here. Cowper hurt on his last attempt to the extra point. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
And we're getting to the point in the football game that you got to take advantage of every chance you get, because you may not get another one the way St. John's can sit on the football. Out of the shotgun, 2nd down and 7. Highland at the 45 with time going for Jack Urizzo. He's tripped up at the 10-yard line and no penalty flag.
Boy, oh boy, that was a close one. They're saying he couldn't have caught it, and I think that's a questionable call.
The defensive back, Ray Capuana, tripping up Jack Urizzo at the 10, and that a big call or a non-call in this football game.
Yeah, the guy on the bench not going too crazy over it, but could have been a flag on that play. He was open, Urizzo, but he said the ball was not catchable, I believe.
So now 3rd down and 7. 6:39 to go in the football game.
Gales are, I think, in 2-down territory here. They really, with only 6.5 to go, probably have to go for it, although a punt might pin St. John's deep.
McGowan in motion. Highland at the 45. Nobody there. Oh, there's a completion at the 25-yard line. Good for the 1st down.
Yeah, he hit him.
Thomas Moan with the catch.
Couldn't see him in front of the bench, but Moan was there, wondering where Highland was throwing the football. Fortunately for Iona, he's got better eyes than we do.
Well, he doesn't have to look over these big linemen standing on the sideline, so the Gales knocking on the door.
This is a huge drive, and boy, I tell you, if they can come back here, that play 3rd and 25 was probably the biggest play of this football game.
Another 3rd down conversion for Iona. This was not 3rd and 27, but 3rd and 7 is a big play nonetheless.
8 catches on the day for McGowan, 101 yards.
At the 25-yard line, Billy Highland rocking under the center, Derek Clark, calling signals on the ground. Beluzzi, nothing.
He lost.
Gang tackle, 3 St. John's Redmen all over Aldo Beluzzi, as Volpe leading that tackle. So let's see where they mark the football. Maybe a loss of 1.
He lost 2 on that play. It's 2nd and 12 for the Gales. 5:45 to go. That clock has been slow moving all day. As you see the gang tackle there, it's moving fast now down the stretch.
Gales back to the line of scrimmage, a 2nd down and 12.
Well, I think that's actually better for Iona, the way they've been converting from these long yardage situations. They have been doing a fine job.
A lone setback, number 25, Aldo Beluzzi. Tim Silo in motion. Bit of a mix-up on the snap. It's an end around. Here's Eugene McGowan at the 25, trying to get to the 20, and he's stopped at the 21-yard line. It's going to be another 3rd down play for the Gales.
About 7.
3rd and about 6 or 7, as Eugene McGowan has had his hands on the football quite a number of times today, and another huge play for the Gales upcoming.
Well, here they're certainly in 2-down territory. They have a chance to go for it on 4th down if they want. The Gales 9 of 16 on 3rd downs here this afternoon. They have been very successful. Anytime you're over 50%, you know you're doing a good job.
We're under 5 minutes to go in the football game. Iona trailing 33-30. Highland blitz. He's caught and knocked down at the 30-yard line. A huge loss of 9 on the play.
Matthew Franco.
Which means Iona out of any desperation long field goal range, and they're going to have to go for it on 4th down and about 14.
Now here's Anthony Frisco checking into the football game. Let's see what the Highland coming out, so they're doing something here.
They are going to go for the kick, I believe. Jim Cowper is going to try the field goal. It's going to be a 47-yard attempt.
Timeout called by St. John's.
Angle to the right, timeout by the Redmen. Cowper made a 45-yard field goal to end the first half. He would try a 47-yarder. His previous career high was 42 before the field goal of 45 this afternoon. So this would be, if successful, a new career high for Jimmy Cowper.
Well, the 45-yarder, Gary, probably had the extra 2 yards on it, but you got to remember that he came limping off the field on his last kick, so we'll have to take a good look at him on this kick. This is a huge kick. Now, obviously, Coach Crocker thinks if he can tie this thing up, his defense can hold St. John's. I guess he figures either way, and then he can give his team another chance to get down the field. That was a big sack by Franco, and they blitzed. A gutsy call by the St. John's defensive coaches, but it worked.
But asking Jimmy Cowper to hit a 47-yard field goal with the ball game on the line is asking an awful lot.
That's a longie.
No wind of any kind of consequence here this afternoon, either for or against this Iona field goal attempt.
He's inside the right hash mark, so he does have a good angle on it.
Anthony Frisco will hold. Number 5, James Cowper, trying to tie this game up for Iona. The ball placed down, kicked. It is high enough, but it will not be deep enough, and it's wide to the left. No good. So St. John's will take over on the 30-yard line, still leading by 3, 3:58 to go, and the gauntlet handed back to the Iona defense now.
Well, this is going to be a huge series here. They'll have to really stop them 3 and out. Iona, I believe, has a couple of timeouts left, or two timeouts left. So if they get a first down, they can stop the clock. But you are perilously close to the end of this football game with 3:58 to go. So it's a big task now for the Iona defense, and it's tough to do when you got a guy like Russo in the backfield.
Well, the Gales obviously will be keying on number 21 at the 30-yard line. Sean Sharkey, the quarterback, out of the I formation. Let's see if he does the expected and keep it on the ground, trying to waste the clock. Here's a handoff, but not to Russo. It's to Osterman, the fullback, and he gets 5 big yards up to the 35-yard line.
Well, 2 first downs are going to do it, so Iona really cannot afford to let this clock run too much further down. If they get a first down, they're going to have to start using their timeouts.
So Iona's defense keying on Russo, and they went to Bill Osterman, the fullback.
His first gain of the day. Here you see it on the replay. Sharkey sets his ball club, and now Osterman breaks a couple of tackles and gets the 5 yards.
Back to live action. 2nd down and 5 at the 35-yard line. Clock moving, 3:20 to go in the football game. Sharkey hands to Anthony Russo, trying to turn the corner, and he is tackled. Big play by Dan Rocco, Iona's linebacker, step for step with Russo, and threw him back after a negligible gain. It'll be 3rd and 4.
That was a big play, and this is the big play right here. 3rd down and 4 for St. John's, and it's a big defensive set here.
No gain on the play, so it's 3rd down and 4. At the 35-yard line, under 3 minutes to go, 2:45. Clock is moving. St. John's leading 33-30.
Gales look a bit disorganized right now on the defensive set, but they have time to recover.
Long count by Sharkey, using every available second. Sharkey hands to Russo, breaks 1 tackle, but does not get the first down. Maybe a gain of 1 or 2. Rocco there again for Iona. And Vinny Santalia, the right tackle, making the tackle for the Gales. And it's going to be a punting situation for Joe Parker and St. John's.
Now, this is a big punt right now. Watch McGowan go back for Iona. Good job by the defense. 2 minutes to go in the football game. 1 last chance for the Iona offense. The good news is they do have 2 timeouts left, Gary. So they're not operating with nothing to stop the clock. They do have a chance to do that twice.
Under 2 minutes to go. High snap. Parker able to field, however. It's a high, good kick. McGowan waiting. And he's creamed.
That'll be a penalty.
He is creamed before he's able to catch the football. The Redmen can recover, but it won't matter at all, as that'll be a 15-yard penalty tacked on, as Eugene McGowan not given a chance to field the punt.
They'll have it at their 45. Boy, I'd like to catch a replay of that. He was destroyed. And the crowd didn't like it either.
Not a dirty play. We didn't catch who did the tackle, but obviously the youngster not looking at where the ball was and
overzealous.
Ran right through Eugene McGowan, who thankfully is okay. What a shot he took.
It was really unbelievable. And laugh about it because Eugene got up and ran off the field. But that'll be 15
looking
yards.
At the football, he's looking up in the air waiting for the ball to come down, and he probably did not catch the number on that truck.
Well, you know, I was kind of hoping he called for a fair catch, but probably didn't have a chance to. Boy, that was a tough hit.
Well, it turns out to be a break for Iona, 15 yards.
They got 1:46 to operate with here.
At the 44-yard line, Iona down by 3, their final chance of the football game. Can they break the 11-game losing streak by coming up with a last-minute score of their own? St. John's has done it to Iona so many times, including last year. Can the Gales turn the table? First down from the 44. Highland at the 35, scrambling, in trouble, will not get away. And a huge loss as Highland took him back about 15 yards on that sack.
Yeah, that was good pursuit. And the clock continues to run. 1.5 minutes to go. That was a loss of about 15 yards.
They mark the football on the 34-yard line. So it's a loss of 11, second down and 21. Clock moving, 1:15 to go in the game. Highland not in the shotgun. Second and 21.
Fourth sack, excuse me, Gary, for Highland.
Billy rolling back, in trouble, going backwards again. A screen to the right, a flag on the play. McGowan could not catch the ball.
That looks like a holding call, probably against Iona. They'll go back even further.
And the clock is stopped now with that flag with 1:05 to go in the football game. And the Gales are digging themselves a hole that may be too deep to climb out of. Holding against Iona. Will St. John's take it? I would think not. It would be 3rd and 21.
They're going to take it. They're going to take the yardage because they're really fighting the clock and the length of the football field. They're going to move them back to make it 2nd and 30.
Remember, Billy Highland has been able on a number of occasions this afternoon to come up with huge 3rd and long plays. They are going to turn the penalty down, so it's going to be 3rd and very long, 3rd and 21 for the Gales.
Well, let's see what happens here. They got 2 chances to get it. Obviously, you go for it with 1:05 to go in the football game.
33-30. Iona still with 2 timeouts remaining.
Well, I suspect if they don't get a lot of yardage here, they'll have to use a timeout and really think it over.
As Sparrow wide right, McGowan and Urizzo split to the left. Highland out of the shotgun. 3rd and 21. Billy back to throw. Rolls to the right. Does not get away. He's tackled behind the line of scrimmage.
Beautiful, beautiful play. Number 51 for St. John's, Matthew Franco. Well, we've heard that name before. Gales will have to go for it now on 4th and about 25.
Clock is stopped. Iona has taken a timeout with 54 seconds remaining. 4th down, and the entire football game comes down to whether or not Iona can get to the St. John's 46-yard line.
Well, I don't know what you'd call here, Gary. It's this is one of those things where you put it up and probably pray.
27 yards to go for that first down. That's where Iona has to get to. The St. John's 46-yard line. They have used their 2nd timeout.
It's hard to believe, but St. John's using just a 3-man rush, and they're getting into the Iona backfield very quickly.
That has been a key this afternoon, the pressure on Bill Highland.
He's been sacked 4 times.
Who has had a great day. But right now, Iona's hopes of winning this opener rest on step 1, getting 27 yards. Otherwise, forget it. Here we go to the right side. Louis Gaspari, a fleet-footed freshman wide receiver. McGowan and Urizzo to the left. Highland scrambling for his life. Steps up in the pocket. Throws. It's dropped by McGowan. Intercepted by St. John's. The Redmen take over at the 47-yard line. The 5th interception of the afternoon.
Flag. They roughed the quarterback. They roughed the quarterback. There's a penalty.
Scott Biter came up with the interception. And could this be another reprieve for Iona? We watched the ball after Highland released it.
That's a first down. That's a first down.
Let's see if we can get a replay on that. Billy Highland stepped up in the pocket, threw the ball. It was deflected by McGowan, intercepted by Biter, and then behind the play, Billy Highland took a late hit, and the Redmen give Iona another chance with 45 seconds to go.
100 yards and penalties for St. John's today. I didn't see who roughed the quarterback. Naturally, we were looking up at the other end of the field. A second life for Iona. 45 seconds they got to go down the football field.
Now 1 timeout remains. First down and 10. Shotgun for Highland. Throws left. Complete Urizo. Laterals to McGowan. Into St. John's territory. Did he get out of bounds?
He did.
At the 41-yard line. First down. Stopping the clock with 37 seconds to go. The completion to Urizo. The lateral to Eugene McGowan. And McGowan scampered the needed yardage to get that first down for Iona.
Well, this game has had everything, Gary, including a fantastic finish.
Can we have a miracle finish for Iona? Clock stopped, 37 seconds to go. The ball on the Redmen 45-yard line.
Blitz.
Shotgun. Here's Highland rolling out at the 50, directing traffic. Goes backwards, still on his feet. Throws the ball for McGowan, and McGowan is pushed incomplete, no flag.
Play took 12 seconds.
25 seconds to go, and again, Billy Highland playing the role of Harry Houdini.
I don't know how he got out of that one. Looked to me like he might have been able to pick up some yardage running the football that time, but he did not do it. He had a lot of daylight down the right side, but he pulled up and threw and almost hit McGowan, but it was incomplete.
Billy Highland avoided taking the sack. The incompletion is fine. The Gales still with that 1 remaining timeout. And looks like they'll need it at the 45-yard line. Second down and 10. Highland from the shotgun. Throws to the right. It is caught at the 40-yard line of St. John's by Pogajinski. Clock running. 15 seconds to go.
Gotta do
Iona
something
has
here.
not taken a timeout. 10 seconds to go. 9, 8 seconds to go. Still no timeout, and Highland downs the ball with 6, but that took way too much time, Chuck.
Yep.
Only 6 seconds remaining.
Should have used the timeout in that situation because now they have 1 play left, really, and Coach Crocker knows it. You look at him. He went just gave the timeout signal to Billy Highland. Really, I don't know what you do here. You've got to just heave it. I don't think you're in anywhere near field goal range, obviously.
You got to heave it. You only have time for 1 play. You go in the end zone. The time that Highland needs to drop back and the time that the receiver needs to get into pay dirt territory will take up more than 6 seconds. So I don't know why they didn't call that timeout.
It cost him.
Pogajinski making that reception at the 41-yard line.
Now we'll see what kind of, it's got to be a trick play of some kind here.
Well, the Gales getting that second life after the roughing the passer call. Wiped away what would have been a 4th down interception, but the Gales still 41 yards away. Down by 3.
Yeah, I don't know what you call here. Trickery is what you need. You can go short and out of bounds and try a field goal, but that's a long field goal.
At the 41. Iona did take the timeout after their down pass to set up this play, so the Gales no timeouts remaining. Last play of the game at the 50. Highland scrambles to his left, goes deep, looking for the miracle. It's deflected, intercepted at the 5-yard line. The game is over, and St. John's runs onto the field. They have beaten Iona 33-30.
Well, they did it again. Look at the St. John's Redmen celebrate as they have come up with another improbable victory over the Gales of Iona. Improbable because they scored 13 points on the 1 on special teams and 1 on defense, 2 touchdowns, and other than that, the St. John's offense was really contained to Sean Sharkey and Russo in the second half. Another tough loss for Howell Crocker and the Iona Gales.
Well, Iona, what a heartbreaking defeat this has to be. Playing so well, particularly in the first half. But Chuck, you and I had the feeling, and we talked about it, the way St. John's kept on hanging in there. Well before their offense got started, you had a feeling it was going to be one of these endings, and once again it happens to Iona. And for the 12th time in a row, St. John's finds a way to beat the Gales and many of those 12 defeats have been just as heartbreaking as this one.
Well, you have to give the St. John's defensive coaching staff a heck of a lot of credit. Iona scored 24 first-half points and only 6 in the second half, and that, of course, turned out to be the difference in the ball game. They made some adjustments, came out, and St. John's controlled the second half and comes away with the victory, and they are 1-0, Iona 0-1.
And again, a Liberty Conference game, and Iona starts the Liberty Conference in a hole, 0-1. So there you go. As the teams shake hands at midfield, sportsmanship wins out, of course, after this tough game. Congratulations to St. John's and condolences to the Gales. Hope you enjoyed this afternoon's delayed tape telecast on UA Columbia. Thanks to Chuck Strom and Jim Sheridan, Joe Fox and Jim Houston back in the truck, and all the gang who made this exciting game possible. 33-30 the final score. Our next telecast of Iona College football will be a tape delay broadcast of the game October 10th, played October 10th between Iona and Wagner. Check listings of UA Columbia for the time of the tape delay telecast. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye, everyone.